Incumbent on Baker Mayfield to continue the play we saw on Sunday down the road in order to try to help the Cleveland Browns get into the playoffs.
Ryan Clark on WEEI today. Patriots quarterback Cam Newton said he was embarrassed by his 98-yard passing, 3-interception performance in the 27-point loss to the 49ers. Newton pulled in the fourth quarter for Jarrett Stidham, admitted his starting job may be in jeopardy if he keeps playing like that. Coach Bill Belichick did say that Newton is still his starter. The Patriots visit the AFC East leading Bills on Sunday. Bears linebacker Khalil Mack with a back issue, questionable against the Rams on Monday Night Football. Coverage 8 Eastern, ESPN TV, and the ESPN app.
We're back on Tuesday, recapping the Bears and the Rams from Monday night. I'm telling you, Nick Foles has a lot to prove in this game tonight. Join me, Jay, Will, and Zubin Tuesday at 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tom Play.
Shelby!
No, that's not him. We're off to a rip-roaring start. TJ Finley looked good anyway. Glad you're here. Make it a good one, folks. A lot to get to. Something incredible happened on Saturday. Something that at least one human, anyway, has waited 39 years to have happen. That one human who cared about what transpired on Saturday night, deeply anyway, will be with us later this hour. Shea Dixon next hour. LSU picked up a commitment, put another offer out there. Pretty significant recruiting period right now for LSU. And despite the win, LSU still, thank you, with a still with a lot of flaws defensively. And I want to get Dary Beckwith back on the show. Of course, Dary played linebacker for Bo Pelini, and you know, I just want his perspective. What does he see? How much better can they get? What's going on there? We'll talk to Dary Beckwith bottom of next hour. So. We'll get to the Saints. Huge win yesterday over Carolina. We'll get to that in about 12 minutes from right now. Let me start with LSU. LSU's win over South Carolina on Saturday was just massive. I don't want to overstate it, but I also don't want to understate it. I know South Carolina was an unranked team, and that's not one that people are generally going to put in the pantheon of great LSU wins, along with the 97 Florida game or the 07 Florida game or even the 2012 South Carolina game when those Gamecocks ranked third in the country coming into Baton Rouge, and LSU got a much-needed win after the hammer and nail loss. But a loss on Saturday very likely could have caused LSU to spiral. You were sitting there at 1-2. If you lose to South Carolina, you're 1-3. Now you got to go on the road to Auburn before you have an open date and then Bama. Like 1-5 would have been very realistic had you gone out there and not improved on Saturday. Flip side is you go out and you win. Now you're 2-2. TJ Finley emerges. You've remedied some of your defensive issues. And now you go on the road to an Auburn team that won't be a full stadium and has its own very sincere issues. An Auburn team that, by the way, but for two horrendous officiating miscues, should be a 1-4 football team right now. Like, Arkansas and Ole Miss beat Auburn. Officials with egregious late-game miscues handed Auburn 2 wins. So this is not a good Auburn team that LSU's going to play, and one LSU should beat. That's not something that anybody was saying after the Missouri loss, when some of you, you know who you are, were flooding my mentions with, man, they're going 1-9. Show me another win on the schedule. You know who you are. I just don't have the time or the patience to go search for all of you on Twitter, but you know who you are. Couple of observations about Saturday. I'd be remiss if I didn't start with TJ Finley, who was magnificent. He was ready for the moment, and good on him. The last time that LSU started a true freshman quarterback was in 2014. It was Brandon Harris at Auburn. That didn't go so hot. Harris completed just 3 passes that day. LSU lost 41-7, and it was very clear that he was not ready for the moment. TJ Finley on Saturday was very much ready for the moment. Physically, he's obviously got all of the size, the stature, the arm strength. Everything was there, and the poise was there as well. We're going to go through the game here shortly, but those big picture tentacles for Finley are what's so impressive. A lot of people are suggesting today that Miles Brennan should be relegated to a backup role when he returns, that TJ Finley should be the guy. During his post-game comments on Saturday, this is post-game for Brain, Ed Orgeron was asked that point blank, is there a quarterback controversy? And he brushed aside the question and ultimately said there is no controversy, that Miles Brennan will be the starting quarterback when he returns. I'm actually okay with Ed Orgeron saying that, because I don't think we can draw sweeping conclusions from one game. I want to be very clear. TJ Finley was massively impressive, and I think clearly has a very bright future to be excited about moving forward. But what if Finley starts on the road against Auburn this week and it goes like Brandon Harris's Auburn start did? We're not having that conversation a week from today, right? So we've got time, and we'll go deeper dive into that in a bit. We got all show to talk about this, and I'm sure quarterback is going to consume a lot of the conversation. A couple of other things. Coming out of the Missouri game, there were several things we wanted to see fixed. People talked about the goal line. Well, first drive of the game, beautiful drive. You end up in a goal-to-go situation. Instead of being in the shotgun, you're under center, and your 6'6" quarterback plows into the end zone. Check, you fix that one. John Emery, after the dominant performance against Vanderbilt, he had 2 carries for 7 yards against Missouri. Everyone said, where's John Emery? Orgeron said all this week, we got to get John Emery involved. Bingo, you did. 18 rushes for John Emery in the ball game for 88 yards. His long was only 14, so it wasn't like that was all one big chunk play. He was chewing up yardage throughout the game and is very clearly your best back. How about Ty Davis-Price? 22 rushes for 135. A lot of that was in the second half as LSU was salting away the game, including his long of 35. But all things considered, LSU established the line of scrimmage, and they got Ty Davis-Price and John Emery involved in the rushing game, which was great to see. Maybe the best thing, aside from the poise shown by TJ Finley, was the dominance of the offensive line. LSU did not allow a sack. They ran for 276 yards in the ball game. 276. As imbalanced as you were against Missouri because of your inability to run against a sack box, the opposite happened in this one. We're lauding TJ Finley, who threw for 265, which was awesome, but LSU ran it 54 times for 276. 21 passes, 54 rushing attempts, which, by the way, is exactly how it should have played out. The offensive line in the running game supported the young quarterback, which was great to see. You dominated time of possession. First drive, 16 plays, chewed up 726. I mean, from first to last in that ball game, your offensive line was dominant and you controlled the clock. First possession, 16 plays, ate up 7 minutes and 26 seconds. The final drive of the game, 11 plays, you chewed up the final 7:39. You got the ball with just under 8 minutes to play and never gave it back to them. That was impressive. I mean, it was massively impressive. And if LSU, whatever they might achieve this year, that offensive line is going to have to be better than they were the first 3 games. They'll have to play like they did on Saturday against South Carolina. The defense is still unacceptable. The fact that you put together a 16-play drive to open the game, and then in 3 plays they've equalized it, is wholly unacceptable. You cannot set the edge, which is mind-boggling to me, that none of your defensive ends are capable of setting the edge and turning a play back to the interior. And it doesn't matter if it's Ali Gay or B.J. Ojolari or Andre Anthony or anybody who's played out there. And a lot of those guys did good things. Ali Gay had a couple of batted passes. B.J. Ojolari is a terror off the edge. He's the SEC Defensive Lineman of the Week. He had 4 tackles. 3 of them were sacks. He was awesome. There's no other way to say it. Absolutely phenomenal. But LSU can't set the edge, and the linebackers are massively disappointing. They're just not an aggressive bunch right now. and I don't know how you fix it. But what I do know is this week you're going to Auburn and you're facing Tank Bigsby, who's the best running back in the league after contact. If you aren't better tackling, like markedly better tackling, then Auburn is going to do offensively to you what you just did to South Carolina. We got all week to talk about that, about the Auburn game. But overall, it was an improvement defensively. It's still not good enough. Offensively, you continue to flourish. So exciting to see a talented young quarterback make the strides he did. And then on special teams, Cade York was perfect. 7 of 7 on PATs. He made his only field goal attempt. And Trey Palmer returned a kickoff for a touchdown, which was so much fun to watch. So it was far from a perfect outing for LSU, I think, as Ed Ogeron said. Far from perfect, a lot to clean up, but still by far the best performance of the year. You got a kickoff return for a touchdown. You got a pick 6 in the ball game as well, a defensive score. You scored just about every way you can. Passing, running. It was very therapeutic to watch LSU go be dominant and have something to build upon, which they did on Saturday against South Carolina. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us. We're brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out our first break of the show. We'll come back. You know the drill on Mondays. If you want to get involved, phone lines are open. We welcome a lot of interaction. 499-1045. 499-1045 or toll free 844-568-MATT. 844-568-6288. Tweet me at Matt Moscona or jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Lots of ways you can get your comments in. We'll hear some of your reaction to the game when we come back. And I got to talk about the Saints getting a big win over Carolina yesterday in the Dome in front of 3,000 raucous fans. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Take 60 seconds and remind you about our friends at Premier South Roofing. They're online at premiersouthlA.com, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, North Shore, and Lake Charles, and always online at premiersouthlA.com. They're A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau, Super Service Award from Angie's List, Torch Award for Ethics in Business. When you call Premier South Roofing, you're going to have a better experience with a contractor. You've heard so many of the horror stories, especially for people post-storm, whenever you have blue tarps on your roof and companies come in from all over the country because they know there's work there. And the horror stories are they do shoddy work, take payment, and they're gone, never to be heard from again. Don't let that happen. Trust a company that was here before the storm and will be here long after the storm. That's Premier South Roofing. They're online at premiersouthlA.com, premiersouthlA.com. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, North Shore, and Lake Charles, and always online at premiersouthlA.com. Give our friends a call at Premier South Roofing.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. Buy a new one for less than a used one. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Well, the reason why I would recommend him because he's trustworthy. I mean, attention and love and respect of who you are, what you are, and the purpose why you came, he honors that. Once you're with Murphy, you got a friend.
Further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Look, it was good. You noticed it a little bit. 3,000 we'll keep adding as we go, but you certainly felt a little bit more juice in the stadium than normal.
Sean Payton talking about the 3,000 souls in attendance at the Superdome on Sunday. In case you didn't hear, a whopping 7 new COVID-19 cases today in New Orleans. Stunning. I don't know how they're possibly going to overcome it. Good job on you, though, Mayor, to keep all those people safe. The 7 new cases with a 1.2% positivity rate. But I guess a start is a start. So 3,000 fans in attendance for New Orleans to watch the Saints beat the Panthers 27-24. I think part of the narrative, part of the conversation all season leading up to this year about Drew Brees was, he's certainly not in his prime. We all understand that. But he would flash, right? Isn't that what people have said all offseason? Like, we're not going to see it consistently from Drew, but he'll flash it throughout the year. Well, consider Sunday a flash from Drew Brees. He was magnificent. It was one of those days that was vintage Drew Brees from start until finish. First drive of the game, the Saints put together a 14-play, 75-yard drive that eats up 8:26 of the clock. You finish the first half with a beautifully executed 2-minute drill, 8 plays, 75 yards, a minute 35. I was a bit nauseous when the Saints blew a timeout coming out of the quarter break at the end of the first quarter because you sure could have used that on the last drive. That would have made it less nerve-wracking instead of having to throw that touchdown pass to Deontay Harris with 5 seconds left when you snap the ball. But it's what transpired, and the Saints were able to convert right there before half, which was huge for New Orleans to go in and build upon their lead going into half. So Drew Brees, 29 of 36 for 287. The Saints controlled the ball throughout, as you kind of expected that they try to do, especially with no Christian McCaffrey there for Carolina. Saints with more than 10, just about 10 minutes more in the time of possession than Carolina in this ball game. Total yards, the yardstick was completely one-sided, 415 to 283. The Saints ran it for 138, threw it for 277. It was as clean and complete a performance as we've seen from New Orleans all season long. Couple of observations. I did say after the Green Bay loss, when New Orleans was looking for receivers, and I touted Marquez Callaway, because we'd seen Marquez Callaway during his time at Tennessee, and he had been such a standout there. And when the Saints signed him as an undrafted free agent, I loved it then. And I was not surprised at all to see the day he had yesterday, but very happy for him. 8 receptions for 75 yards on a day where you were without Mike Thomas, you're without Emmanuel Sanders, and you needed somebody to step up. Marquez Callaway was that guy, which was awesome to see. He basically did what many of us have expected or hoped we'd see from Traquan Smith for the entirety of his career. Callaway, with his first real opportunity, went there and delivered. 8 for 75. And by the way, He should have had 9 and a score because the pick play that got called, the touchdown that got called back because of the pick play, the rub route, was completely bogus. The defensive back hugged Traquan Smith, ran into him, and that should have stood, and it should have never been as nerve-wracking as it was there at the end with Carolina trying a 65-yard field goal. But I digress. The point is, I think Marquez Callaway having the day he did was fantastic because you keep waiting to see who that next guy is going to be, and you're going to get Mike Thomas back, and now it's a guy that you feel like you can count on. Callaway even said after the game that the ankle injury he sustained, not serious, and that he should be fine. Later in the show today, we are going to have a conversation about Alvin Kamara because I know that because Kamara's not a quarterback, he's not going to be in the MVP conversation. It's just the nature of the award. It's the quarterback on the best team award now. That's what the MVP is. Maybe Kamara could win Offensive Player of the Year like Mike Thomas did a year ago. But Kamara deserves, at this point, consideration for Most Valuable Player. Considering you've got an aging quarterback, your best receiver has only played in 1 game, you don't really have a next best receiver. The Saints have relied on Alvin Kamara in every facet of the game, and even after getting paid, when so many guys get paid and then regress because they're fat and happy because they got their money, Alvin Kamara has actually elevated his play since getting paid. And yesterday, he was awesome again. 14 carries for 83 yards for the 5th consecutive game. He goes over 100 yards in total offense. And it's more than even just that. It's critical moments like, the third, if you remember the 3rd and 14, about midway through the third quarter, it was the drive that ended with a field goal after the touchdown to Callaway got called back because of the bogus call. But the Saints had a 3rd and 14. And they threw a little dump pass to Kamara in the right flat, shakes a guy, makes a guy miss, sprints, and he extends the ball. They reviewed it, if you remember, and ultimately let the play stand, and he converted the first down. Those are the types of winning plays that Kamara is making for this team that are just one guy with an incredible individual effort that is changing this team fundamentally. He deserves MVP consideration because without Alvin Kamara, there is no chance at all New Orleans is 4-2 and even in the conversation. He has been absolutely magnificent and was again yesterday. How about Marcus Davenport? It was a mostly quiet day for Davenport, but he did come up with the sack at the end, which moved Carolina out of field goal range, which we thought was out of field goal range, but they did try the 65-yarder, which would have been good from 64. But that was Davenport coming up with that play in that moment. He had just 2 tackles in the game, but that sack was the play of the game. It ultimately moved Carolina out of makeable field goal range and won the game for New Orleans. And I know we've talked about this so much over his 3 years, but that is a guy that physically has all the ability in the world. It's why the Saints were willing to trade up in round 1 to get him, to have an elite edge rusher opposite Cam Jordan. And if he could ever stay healthy, we've seen him flash. People forget that he was the 2nd leading sacker on the team a year ago. He was 2nd in sacks. I don't know if you say sacker. Is he the 2nd sacker? He was 2nd on the team in sacks behind Cam Jordan a year ago, and that was even with the injury that cost him part of the season. Right now, teams are just avoiding Cam Jordan or they are double-teaming Cam Jordan, and his opportunities just have not been there to stuff the stat sheet, which is why you've seen Trey Hendrickson have a great start to the season in a contract year. And now with Davenport back, hopefully that's another guy, part of that rotation that can be dominant. It was really good to see Davenport out there and making impact plays. The other thing on the other side of the ball that's worth talking about has got to be Teron Armstead. Armstead, who has been injury prone in his career, who is, when he's healthy, as good a left tackle as there is in the NFL. He goes out and you immediately see the impact. I mean, the fumble was when James Hurst went in at left tackle for Armstead and immediately gives up a sack, and Breeze fumbles the ball. We saw it in the Chargers game when Ryan Ramczyk went out. And Ramczyk goes out, and then immediately the Saints are unable to run the football to the right side, and you're giving up pressures from the right side with Ethan Greenidge at right tackle. We all know, I think intellectually, we know the importance of the offensive line. It's just so hard to quantify because nobody keeps track of like pancake blocks or anything like that. I mean, you have to rely on something like Pro Football Focus, which is out there grading, run blocking and pass blocking or whatever. But none of us really know what those statistics mean. He graded out at an 87. Okay, well, what does that mean? We don't really know. You can't quantify like you can 12 carries for 93 yards and 2 scores. Like, we can quantify that. We know what that means. But when you see it, when it materializes in front of your eyes, when you're playing the Chargers, Ramczyk goes out, and all of a sudden, Breeze is getting pressure, and you're unable to run the ball to the right side. Yesterday, when Teron Armstead goes out, James Hurst comes in and immediately gives up a sack, and it's a strip fumble. Boom, you see it right there in front of your eyes. I mean, the Saints have as good a pair of tackles as anybody in the entire NFL when they're healthy. Ramczyk has been super durable throughout his career. Armstead, unfortunately, has not. And I think there's a very real question if Armstead is out for any length of time, and we'll get that answer at some point, I'm sure, this week. But there's a very real question of if you feel comfortable with James Hurst as your left tackle, or do you kick Andrus Peat out to play left tackle? Peat, by the way, had a really nice day yesterday at left guard for New Orleans, which was nice to see considering he's had his own injury issues and his own performance issues. But at times, whenever you've needed a left tackle, even a year ago, when Armstead went down, Peat kicked out and played left tackle. It's what he did in college, and he could certainly do it again. So maybe it's Hurst left guard, Peat left tackle, however they may shift it. But it looks like, we got an illustration of the value of Teron Armstead yesterday when he went down with injury, and now we're going to have to see what the Saints do if they shuffle the offensive line to compensate. But the most important part is that New Orleans got another win. So the Saints with the win, they moved to 4-2. They hang a loss on Carolina, who falls to 3-4. That's on a day where Atlanta blew it again and lost, and Tampa looks every bit the part of a Super Bowl contender, and they're getting Antonio Brown as well. I wish the Saints had the urgency that Tampa does. Tampa is all in. Tampa went and signed Gronk. Tampa was aggressive and went and got Fournette. Last week, they restructured Ali Marpet's contract, and you knew they were doing it for a reason, and then you see it when they go and sign Antonio Brown, and you've got the trade deadline coming. Tampa is all in right now to win a Super Bowl. New Orleans, it feels like, is the analogy I've given. It's like they're trailing on the cards in the final round, and they're still trying to time out punches. I mean, you need to be throwing haymakers. I know there's a ton on this roster that could help New Orleans, in longevity because of the quality and the talent on the roster. But if you want to win with Drew Brees, it's got to be now. And that's why winning yesterday was just massively critical. We talked about coming out of the bye. You had to get the win against Carolina. You got to go win against Chicago. Get these winnable games under your belt so you're at a good point record-wise when you go to Tampa, and let those chips fall where they may. You already beat Tampa once this year, so splitting the season series isn't terrible. But if you're able to get that one in Tampa in 2 weeks and you win the season series, that's a major win for New Orleans, hanging 2 losses on Tampa, but also winning the season series. But right now, you're coming off this win. Take the time to get healthy this week. Get right. Chicago plays tonight, so Chicago will be on a short week when you go play at Soldier Field next week. I know the Bears are 5-1, but they feel very much like a paper tiger right now. Great opportunity for New Orleans to go to Chicago and win after getting this win against Carolina as well and winning going into the bye. All right, it is after further review. Glad to have you aboard with us here. If you want to join the show, JimsFirearms.net phone lines are there at 499-1045. 499-1045 or toll free 844-568-MATT, 844-568-6288. Tweet us at Matt Moscona, jump on the Bayou Ford YouTube chat. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show, and glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a break, go around the SEC. Stick around. It's AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
So, you're probably itching to get home today, so you can go carefully through all of your direct mail. Aren't you? Because you know it's in there, invariably, at some point. It's going to be the letter from your insurance company announcing to you that they've increased your rate. That's coming, or maybe it's already happened, and you're wondering, what can I do? They keep raising my rate. You call Insurance Network of Louisiana. Because while State Farm, Allstate, Liberty Mutual, whoever it is that you have presently, for your homeowners, your auto, your flood insurance, whatever it may be, while they keep raising your rate, you're overpaying unnecessarily. Because what Insurance Network of Louisiana does, they have relationships with the top companies in the world. They go shop independently for free to get you better coverage for less money. So call them. 293-0450.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Obviously, a huge part of the conversation this week around LSU is going to be Miles Brennan's status, just as it was a week ago. Ed Ogeron today, when meeting with the media for his weekly press conference via Zoom, gave this update on Miles Brennan.
Miles is going to practice a little bit today. Jack is going to get him accelerated throughout the week. We're going to see. I don't know yet if he's going to play. He may play. It all depends how practice goes this week. But, we're only going to do about 25% with him today, see what he can do, feel it. He's probably going to be sore, see how he goes throughout the week. If he can't play, obviously TJ has done a great job for us. Max is going to do a great job. I'm not putting him in unless he's 100% ready.
So that's the kicker right there, where Ogeron has continued to say, do you have the post-game one? This is what Ogeron said post-game when asked about, I think he's number 4 from the post-game, when asked about the possibility of a quarterback controversy.
It might be on y'all part. I mean, everybody's just yearning for it. I can feel it. It ain't going to be on our part. I tell you that. You know, I mean, Miles is our starting quarterback, and TJ has done a great job. I don't know when Miles is going to be ready. Miles is going to be our starting quarterback, but I know this. If Miles ain't doing well, I can put in TJ and feel good about it.
It would be naive not to expect that question, and it would be naive not to consider it with the way Finley played on Saturday. That said, LSU's issues the first 3 weeks had little to do with Miles Brennan. It's just, is there a bigger upside with TJ Finley? I mean, that's certainly to be considered. But Ogeron saying there is no controversy that Miles Brennan is the starting quarterback if he's healthy. But then today saying he's not going to play Brennan unless he's 100%. It's very unlikely that Brennan's 100% this week. If you remember, last week we talked to Dr. Chad Luke, former LSU quarterback, who described this injury for us. So that's typically going to be a 4 to 6 week injury. There's no procedure, no surgery to do. It's just time to let it heal, and then it's a pain tolerance thing. Well, if Ogeron is sincere about not playing Brennan if he's not 100%, then I don't know how Brennan is 100% this week. What would make more sense would be you play Finley this week on the road with Max Johnson as his backup. You give Brennan this week and the open date, which means it would be 35 days from the injury against Missouri until you play Alabama. And then based on what happens against Auburn this week, it's going to give you a much better idea of what you do at quarterback under center against the Tide coming out of your break. So much more, no doubt, as the week goes along as we follow Brennan's progress, but we will see if he is ready to go against Auburn this weekend on the Plains. All right, glad to have you hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Mark down the date, y'all. November the 3rd. It's a Thursday. November the 5th. My bad. November the 5th. Thursday, November the 5th is Christmas in November at the Bluebonnet location. A week later, the 12th, is the Lafayette location, but this is the biggest one-day sale of the year. One-day only specials, the biggest specials of the year. You can come to the clinic. You can meet the doctors. You can meet the staff at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. They've got it catered. I mean, like last year, they had like sliced filet. It was incredible. Champagne, wine, beer, live music and entertainment. They do it to the nines. It's a great chance to come by, meet the staff, capitalize on the best one-day specials of the year, have a bite to eat, have a cocktail or a glass of wine or a beer. It's at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. It's Thursday, November the 5th, coming up a week from this Thursday on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge. Learn more at theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Missouri Tigers.
Missouri wide receiver Maurice Massey, gone, dismissed from the team. He was arrested Sunday on suspicion of third-degree domestic assault and several other charges. Massey's not played yet for Mizzou this year after he opted out of the season because of COVID-19. Played in 4 games a year ago, but did not record a catch.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Defensive back Jerry Jacobs has officially opted out of the remainder of the 2020 season. He's a grad transfer from Arkansas State. He was starting at corner for the Razorbacks, got hurt against Auburn, played sparingly a week later against Ole Miss, and now is opting out for the remainder of the season. Jacobs, the 4th Hog to opt out this fall. Sam Pittman says, though, this team will be closer to full strength against A&M this week. Defensive end Dorian Gerald and running back Rakeem Boyd good to go.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Nick Saban confirmed Jalen Waddle underwent surgery Saturday night in Birmingham after he fractured his ankle against Tennessee. Surgery was very successful, and Waddle's long-term prognosis, according to Saban, very good. Saban compared the surgery to the one that Derrick Henry and Kenyon Drake had during their time in Tuscaloosa. It wasn't all a loss, though, for the Tide. They got a commitment from defensive back JaQuincy McKinstry, 6-foot, 175-pounder. Chose the Tide over Auburn and LSU. He's a top 50 recruit nationally. Bama now with 22 commits for the 2021 class.
The Florida Gators.
Speaking of commits, Birmingham 4-star linebacker Jeremiah Williams. He's a top 100 overall player. He picked the Gators over Auburn, Georgia, and Oklahoma. 6'3", 224. Gators now with 25 commits for the 2021 class.
the Auburn Tigers.
And Auburn basketball will not be spending Thanksgiving at Disney World. ESPN announced on Monday the cancellation of its planned bubble for early season multi-team events. Auburn was going to be part of an 8-team field down in Orlando. Recent reports have Auburn opening against Gonzaga. Now it is unclear where Auburn will open the 2021 schedule, what it will look like moving forward. There you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. They're online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. If you're a business owner, operator, if you need your business to run more efficiently, you need that office equipment, you need Gulf Coast Office Products. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, and Lafayette, or online at gcopnet.com, gcopnet.com. for Gulf Coast Office Products. Shea Dixon's going to be with us in 19 minutes. Mentioned a couple of commits from Bama and Florida. LSU got one today at a position of need. They also doled out an offer to a very familiar legacy at LSU over the weekend. And many of you have asked the question, will LSU's slow start this year impact recruiting? Well, we'll get Shea's feeling on that and how that's all transpired so far in the early part of the 2020 football season. So, Shea Dixon coming up in about 19 minutes. Dary Beckwith, former LSU linebacker, bottom of next hour, played for Pelini, played linebacker for Pelini. What is going on with this linebacker core? What is the issue, and can they improve? We'll talk to a guy who was an all-SEC linebacker in this defense coming up at the bottom of next hour. But when we come back, you probably know that something happened on Saturday night in Tiger Stadium that had not happened in 39 years, almost to the day. And it was celebrated by no one more fervently. Actually, might not have been celebrated by anyone else than the guy who's going to join us next. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Carriages in Bocage. CarriagesBR.com, CarriagesBR.com. Tell them Matt sent you in over to Carriages in Bocage. Remember, they got an in-house tailor over at Carriages in Bocage. So if you buy something tailor-made at Carriages, they will make it fit forever. It's Carriages in Bocage. Also got officially licensed LSU game day gear. So if you're watching the Tigers at home, at a sports bar, at a friend's house, or you're heading to the Plains this weekend, make sure you stop by Carriages first. Carriages in Bocage, and pick up some officially licensed LSU game day gear. They got the College Vault Series with the Sailor Mike logo. They've got the National Championship logo on their Peter Millar performance gear. The Johnny O brand Evan Stripe performance polo. It's all there at Carriages in Bocage. CarriagesBR.com to shop them online. Remember, they'll ship anywhere in the country or the world at CarriagesBR.com. Or just go see them where they've been for 30 years in the Courtyard in Bocage Village. Voted by you, the best men's clothier in the best of 225. It's Carriages in Bocage.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Hi, this is Chance Inman, President and Chief Operating Officer for Janney King Gulf Coast. Here are some ways to protect yourself and those around you from the coronavirus. Wash your hands often and thoroughly. Cover coughs and sneezes with your elbow. Disinfect high-touch surfaces regularly. Use non-contact methods for greeting others. And avoid touching your face. Following these steps, as well as social distancing, should help all of us stay healthy.
Janney King, the king of clean. I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m., Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So on Saturday, LSU's playing South Carolina in football. Second half is underway. LSU gives up a score, and then South Carolina kicks off. And Trey Palmer fields the ball, fumbles at her bit. You know the rest. At the moment Trey Palmer crossed the goal line, my phone exploded. You would have thought I was the one that returned the kickoff for a touchdown. Now, if you aren't familiar, here's how it sounded on Saturday night.
On the dead run, fumbling the ball as Trey Palmer picks it up. Now he's got no momentum. Still finds a crease. Trey Palmer gets loose. Turns the corner, gets to midfield. Can any Gamecock have an angle to bring him down before the end zone? They cannot. Touchdown.
That's how it sounded on ESPN Saturday. I can only imagine how it sounded in the Condon household. Richard Condon joins us now. Richard, thank you for joining us on the show.
No, thank you. And it still hadn't set in. I'm still somewhat numb to it all. And each and every second, all day on Sunday and all day today, I just can't believe 39 years worth of waiting and anticipation finally came to an end on Saturday night. So life is very, very good. The good thing about all of this is that you and everybody else in the broadcast world no longer has to hear me talk about Eric Martin, who, by the way, turns 59 the 9th of next month. That wait, that long anticipated run by an LSU football player is now over. So all good. And I do appreciate you allowing me in your house. This is nice.
Thanks for coming, Rich. No, we appreciate it. You say it has been 39 years, but for you, I don't think the anticipation was 39 years. For those that don't know, Richard did a radio show on the Score 1210 starting back in 2007, and I produced that show for Richard. And that's, I think, when you first brought up the Eric Martin thing, right? That's when you first
Well, the two greatest things that happened in 1981 is the Iran hostages, the Americans got released, and Eric Martin brought back that kickoff for a touchdown. So when I think of 1981, I think of so many great moments. And the fact that a guy that Jerry Stovall had to move from running back to wide receiver because he was too slow was the last guy to do it. And I want to tell you, and you can belittle me, and all the little young whippersnappers out there drinking their little fancy little frou-frou coffees, turning vegan, playing Dungeons and Dragons, whatever the hell they do. Went through school timeout. Instead of dad putting a belt to their ass, they had to go in their room and hush. They can disrespect me all they want. I do not care. Right. But there's a lot of people my age, give or take a few years, that go, hey, I'm tired of you hearing about it, but it's still an amazing stat that it took 39 years with all the skilled people. And one thing I'm glad about the most, not only do you not have to hear me mention it anymore, I don't have to hear all these knuckleheads questioning the fact, oh, it was Trenton Holiday. No, shut up. Oh, it was Skylar
Got it.
Green.
Nope.
No, stop it.
Nope.
Oh, it was Eddie Kinnison. No,
Nope.
stop it. And what's amazing is that because I said it, it wasn't factual. It's just somebody looking for attention.
I don't think that's true.
Let me tell you something.
I
In
just think
all
it was
my
just hard.
years of
But I
being in
did ask-
radio,
I did
if
ask-
I want attention, I can take it to another level than that, Moscona.
I'm very well aware. But I did ask you a question. Was 07 when you first became aware of the fact?
Oh, no, I've been saying it way before you and I worked together.
When did you start saying
Sometime in the early 90s.
Early 90s?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the first time
God bless
I
his soul.
remember.
Larry LeBlanc's no longer with us. He passed away a couple of weeks ago, but I brought it up on the show one day on the Tiger when him and I were working together, and of course Larry didn't care, and I understand. But
What do you think Larry was doing?
At that time?
Yeah.
Probably him and I weren't doing the same thing at that moment. I'm not really sure, God bless him, but probably doing things I outgrew.
Yeah.
Probably.
Understood.
Yep.
So I'm curious. So you've waited, let's call it 30 years. Let's call it 30 years. So walk me through what the moment was like. Were you at your home?
I was at my house.
You're in the back
thank you.
room?
I was at my house. My
Yellow
wife,
beanbag chair?
My son was in from Chicago.
Yeah.
They went to the game.
Oh, how special. Oh,
Yes,
you weren't with
yes.
Rob.
No,
Wait,
I
you didn't
was
go to the
not.
game.
I was in the back room.
So you were by
and,
yourself.
And you know what? I got to thank you because you know who your friends are.
Yeah.
The first person that contacted me was Matt Moscona. You were getting ready for whiskey and wine, and you put aside that responsibility to pick up your phone, and I'm one of your contacts, and I'm blessed to say that, and you called me at the house. I said, I love you.
Yeah.
You manned up and said you love me.
I do love you.
And that may be the most emotional moment for me on Saturday night, the fact that you actually said you love me.
I love you, Richard.
And I love you, too.
So,
and I love Haldane. Haldane even tweeted out something to me, and so did Ryan Terrio, and I haven't heard from so many people in my life. I didn't even realize I had my cell number. Everybody, the phone was blowing up. See, you got too many silly willies in this business who want to feel important. Oh, my phone was blowing up. Shut up. No, it wasn't. My phone literally was blowing up, and I want to thank everybody who hit me up. Hit me up.
I think you mean
Appreciate it.
I think you mean figuratively. If your phone was literally blowing up, it would have exploded.
Here we go. We're going to Catholic High Yuma.
Your phone is still
That's
here.
beautiful.
If your phone is still here, then
now we're going with the Catholic High Yuma. Pull my finger.
That's
Terrific.
That's not Yuma. That's
Isn't
just,
that great?
That's
Yuma.
just
Now we're
English.
going with the Yuma.
That's not Yuma. That's a city in
Somebody
Arizona.
call me an Uber.
That would be Uber. But either way.
All right, look, so you're making fun of me. I don't care. And I don't care about all the little silly willies out there either. I don't care about the little guys going to play video games. And sorry, old man, we can't fake for you to die and go away. Oh, you know what you got to do? Next Tuesday, vote for the real Weekend at Bernie's. Joe Biden is the real Weekend at Bernie's. He's the real Bern. They just put him in a seat somewhere. That's right, all you little silly willies out there.
You having trouble with that mic on?
I don't know, whatever. I'm tired of it.
You keep hitting
I don't
that
care.
mic.
No, I don't care about all the young people out there that make fun of me. Don't give it that.
I'm not making fun of you.
So you know what? They disrespect me. You know why they disrespect me? Because their old man didn't put a foot up there behind, and that's why they disrespectful to the people who came before them. You follow me?
So Trey Palmer, at what point?
Kangaroo loving.
At what point were you like, this is it?
I thought they were going to catch him at about the 5. You know, when he rounded going down the sideline, I thought they were going to have the angle on him. But for him to go in, I was jacked. Now, when I think of Kentwood, I think of Britney Spears and Trey Palmer.
When Trey Palmer was at about the 15, actually about midfield when he turned the corner.
I was waiting for a penalty, man.
I grabbed my phone, and I'm like, hey, Siri, call Richard Condon.
You know the craziest thing? I answered the phone, too. I answered it. Normally, I let it go to voicemail.
I did. Well, how many people would you say called or texted?
I would say call or texted probably maybe 40-ish.
Okay.
For me, that's a lot.
Yeah.
I know for the average person, but I don't have that many contacts, and that many people don't have my number. It's only customers and family.
And friends?
And close friends.
Close friends.
So now, like I tell you, I gotta find Christy a good man, and I gotta find 4 more pallbearers. Because I got you and I got Ryan.
Yeah, that's
so I gotta put an ad in the paper. So I need 4 pallbearers. That's what I need now.
How about Brain?
Brain could be in.
Are you
sometimes Brain and I, we don't get along too well. Sometimes Brain cops an attitude. Here's the problem with Brain. Brain claims he's a New Orleanian, but he grew up on the North Shore.
He's North Shore. He's not New
Yeah, no, he's not New Orleans.
Yeah,
Come on.
North Shore guy.
You know what I mean? He pretends to talk like he's from New Orleans, and he claims to be from New Orleans. If you grew up on the North Shore, that's like somebody growing up in Gross Tet saying they're from Baton Rouge. No, you're not.
No, you're from Gross Tet.
You're not.
That's where you're from.
You follow me?
It's Gross Tet.
Thank you. He's going to get mad at you, brother.
I'm not worried about him. No.
Well, that's you.
So what's next in your life, Rich? Now that this has been checked off, you've seen a kickoff return for a touchdown.
No, I'm not really worried about it anymore.
Next?
I'm not really worried about
You're
it
at
anymore.
peace.
No. Well, anytime you're my age and you minus 1 organ, your perspective changed a little bit in life, that sort of thing. So really, the only thing I got to do is have my daughter marry a non-vegan. You know what I mean? A non-goofball. You follow me? Don't marry into a family where I got to go over to this dude's house because he's barbecuing for everybody. You follow me? He's got freaking cucumbers on a pit or something. You see, that's what I'm worried about. My daughter married into an artsy millennial family type. You know what I mean? The guy's got a big locomotive set in his back room, the dad. That's what I'm worried about. I'm not kidding you. You think I'm kidding you?
What do you have against locomotives?
That's why I hate going out of state. You know what? The world's full of goofballs, and chances are my daughter's going to marry into a goofball family. I could see it now.
I'm sure your in-laws are going to be thrilled with you, Rich.
I'm not worried about them. I'm right. I don't care what they think.
I'm so glad you came, Rich.
I mean, we could go run 5, whatever you want. Let's get this straight.
Hour 2 next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. They are changing lives financially. Of course, you can buy a home, build a home, refinance your mortgage. Think about this. If your rate's above a 4, you call GMFS, they refinance your mortgage. In some points, we've seen people lower their rate 1.5. Think about the thousands of dollars you will save over the life of the mortgage. And some people, when they go to closing, are able to skip 1 or 2 payments. What if you could skip a mortgage payment or 2 and lower your monthly mortgage bill? That's GMFS Mortgage. It's worth a phone call. If you know your rate's above a 4, it's worth getting in touch with a local loan officer to see if they can save you money. But they're also changing lives because for every loan they close, they make a donation in the name of their borrower to Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. 714 donations last month from GMFS Mortgage.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Do you know someone who sets a good example for all of us to follow? Someone who, without being asked, shows leadership, selflessness, and service to their community? We believe that's the definition of a good citizen, and so does Citizens Bank and Trust.
So, if you know someone that sounds like what Jordy was just describing, nominate them to be your good citizen, and they'll have a chance to win $500 from Citizens Bank and Trust. Plus, we'll mention him right here on the show. So go to citizensbankandtrust.com for more details and nominate your good citizen.
Hello.
What's up, B? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up.
Hey, Greg. Roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
When you want the best of Louisiana, you don't go to a superstore. We know what we like, and we like it local. Same goes for banking. As one of Louisiana's largest local banks, we offer homegrown services crafted around you. Gulf Coast Bank, the bank that cares about you.
Do you have or have you had COVID-19? Antibody screening or rapid molecular testing can tell you. Lake Urgent Care Lake After Hours offers both with results from molecular testing in minutes. Learn more at lakeurgentcare.com.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, the news is not good for the Browns. Star receiver Odell Beckham Jr. expected to miss the remainder of the season with a torn ACL in his knee, and it will be a long road back for Beckham, notes our Keyshawn Johnson.
Probably won't be at full strength to the end of November of 2021. So now you start to think about all the snap, crackle, pop, the things that Odell brings to the table, whether it's running reverses, the fast twitch, all of those sort of things when he gets the football in his hands. I don't believe that you'll see the same Odell Beckham when he returns that you see right now.
Keyshawn of Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Zubin Mehenti. Patriots quarterback Cam Newton on WEEI said today he's approaching this week as if his job's in jeopardy after being pulled early in the fourth quarter of the loss to the 49ers. Newton 98 yards passing, 3 interceptions. Coach Bill Belichick had said he's absolutely sticking with Newton as his starter. Patriots visit the Bills on Sunday. Purdue football coach Jeff Brown planning to return to work Wednesday, should be back on the sidelines Saturday at Illinois. He'd been self-isolating since testing positive for the coronavirus more than a week ago.
We're back on Tuesday, recapping the Bears and the Rams from Monday night. I'm telling you, Nick Foles has a lot to prove in this game tonight. Join me, Jay, Will, and Zubin, Tuesday at 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
I appreciate it, bud. Have a good one.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Topley, who sounds a lot like Chris Cornell sometimes. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. LSU gets a win on the field and a win on the recruiting trail. Shea Dixon, our friend from Go 247, joins us here as recruiting has picked up a good bit. Shea, thanks for the time. How are you?
Hey, Matt, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing really well, Shea. Matthew Langlois. Tell us about him. How did this come to be?
The offer went out a few weeks back, and he was committed to K-State at the time, and he sort of felt, obviously talk things over with his family, but for a kid from the New Rose area, it was going to be very tough for him to pass up a chance to play for DBU, to play at LSU, and they offered him at safety, and look, he's got the frame to play safety in the SEC. People who have seen him play will agree he's a natural athlete. I mean, as a junior, he was sub-11 in the 100 meters. You see it translate to the field. He plays both ways, and they're in a pretty run-heavy offense. He plays running back, and you can see the burst, and then he plays safety, and you see how well he moves. The top-end speed is definitely there, and he's a really willing tackler. I mean, he is laying guys out on film. And now you look into, okay, he's going to transition to full-time DB. That takes a little time. That's fine. The talent's there. They loved him, and I really like this addition. They need safeties. Cam Lewis and Jacoby Stevens are gone, I would guess, after this season. Mo Hampton's back, and we haven't seen much of Jordan Tolles. He was a top 100 guy, but we just don't know yet what he brings you. So they only had one safety committed in Kari G. He's out of Atlanta. I love adding an in-state guy to sort of, at this point, the combination of his talent and LSU's needs made complete sense to me.
So, Shea, there's obviously another very highly respected safety in state that's still uncommitted in Sage Ryan. Does this affect that at all, or is this telling at all?
No, I think they need as many safeties as they can fit and get. And look, they like Sage as a guy who can play corner. They think he can play nickel really well. So, no, won't affect Sage one bit.
Okay. We also saw over the weekend that Jack Besh got his offer from LSU. Okay, let's walk through this, because part of me says, okay, maybe that means they're not super confident about Brian Thomas at Walker, but Besh is also playing really well. So make that balance make sense to me here.
Well, look, I think that you're right. I mean, you could say, okay, and I'll touch on more than this in a second with Brian Thomas and where things stand, but I almost feel, and I do feel this way, that Jack Bech is a standalone, kind of earned the offer. And you saw Matthew Langlois. They haven't needed safety, sure, but his senior film was great. And you look at Jack Bech, and he's been great. A year ago, out of all these 2021 guys, Brian Thomas was number 2 in the state in receptions and number 2 in the state in receiving yards. The only person who had more of both was Jack Bech. And he's been dominant for STM. He's a multi-sport guy. Committed to Vandy back in March, but landing that LSU offer was huge. He's got family ties, grows up a fan. It's tough to pass that up. So we've seen picks start to roll in on the 24/7 crystal ball for him to flip from Vandy to LSU, including my pick. But look, Walker Howard's his quarterback. He's committed to LSU, and you can take him at receiver, and you can put him at tight end and flex him out if you need to. He's not far off, Matt, from where Thaddeus Moss was coming out of high school. A little bit lighter, but he's got the frame to get there, and he's going to play around 6'3", and unless he keeps growing. But the talent's there. He just knows how to get open, strong hands, can high point a ball. He's got a real innate feel for the game. They played a team where you went to high school, I won't say it, but he goes over 200 yards. He was unstoppable. And they went ahead, made the offer, and I think that's a guy that could be one of these next guys to commit and jump on board. And I really like it. I think it's a guy that I wouldn't let leave the state when he has that sort of production and certainly the athleticism, the bloodlines that he's put together.
You can say it.
I'm not doing that thing, Kalakai.
I'm
not screaming it.
Feels like you should.
No, I'm not doing it.
It's all right. Got him last year. It's a good series. They should keep playing that every year. Shea Dixon's with us. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Go 247. So where are they now with spots for 2021? Let's talk about numbers.
Okay, so they're at, 19 commitments right now. So that's going to give them 6 spots left to fill. Langlois obviously becoming number 19. They can get to 25 here. So you've got in-state guys left out there, obviously, and you've got some out-of-state targets. How they manage it down the stretch will be interesting to see. I think another thing is senior year evals, when you didn't have summer camp and didn't get spring evals, are going to be important. And I won't be surprised if a guy or two that's currently committed ends up winding up elsewhere. I think that they're going to have to find a way to get the best guys in. But right now, I do think that they'll get to a full 25, and it's just a matter of sort of how the dominoes fall or what things look like in terms of really, the out-of-state board, but now the in-state board the rest of the way.
So what does the in-state board look like?
Well, you mentioned Brian Thomas and Sage Ryan, and then there's Mason Smith, obviously. And those are the top 3 players in the state. None are committed. All the crystal ball picks on all 3 of them are in for LSU. But if I'm ranking them like a confidence, I would say I feel the best about Smith and Ryan. And Smith's going to wait to announce. He's talked about being a package deal maybe with 5-star Corey Foreman out of California. It's LSU or Georgia if that's the case. And I think LSU's got a bit of an edge. I mean, look, Ed Orgeron has put in so much work there. And then you see the success the D-line's having right now in the scheme that they're playing. That's attracted to him. And then with Ryan, he's cousins with the Falks. Kevin Falks on staff right now. Corey Raymond recruits his area and is from there and knows him. And Sage has always said, look, everyone expects me to be at LSU, but I've always wanted to take visits, and he can't do that. So does he wait till January? Maybe. It'd be a bit surprising. Bama's lurking. Saban loves him, and I think that shows. He's the number 1 safety in the country. Saban's after him because of that reason, not let alone Louisiana. This kid's a game changer. I think he starts for LSU if he winds up playing there next year. But with Thomas, it's been tough to know. He's quiet, and he didn't come to that Tiger turnout thing when everybody else was there. I think he's pretty enamored, or maybe equally enamored with Alabama, and A&M's starting to crawl back into it. And he's got no decision date. But look, LSU's got 3 top 100 receivers committed who all do different things. I think that if he does leave the state, at least you can hold on there and feel good about things. But look, let me touch on this real quick. When people think of Jack Bech or Matthew Langlois or some of these guys and say, all right, you've got 6-7 spots left. Why are you offering these? In-state 3 stars, what's the deal? I went back and looked, and I wrote an article, and I'll put it up tomorrow, but I'll tease it here with you.
Okay.
Ed Orgeron's hit rate on in-state 3 stars is insane. That first class, Justin Jefferson and Clyde, both first-round picks. John Trey and Jure have broken out at receiver. Joe Evans is a starter. Cam Wire is a starter. Race McMath's a starter. Finley just started his first game, looked great. 1 in the 12 in-state signees. There were 3 stars that Orgeron signed, has transferred, Dan Treasy Scott. And you got a couple injuries in there, but of the 5 draft-eligible guys, 2 of them went first round, and then you look at these guys, Langlois, Besh, they're some of the best in the state. So I wouldn't worry about what they're ranked. I would be confident in what, the eval is.
I think that is a very safe argument right now, considering how this staff has evaluated and developed talent. Shea Dixon, at Shea Dixon on Twitter. Shea, I know you get this question a lot. I do too. Let's talk about this for a second on air before you bounce. Some people always worry, and I know you and I have had this conversation on air and off air so many times over the years, but some people always worry when a team isn't playing well, that's going to negatively affect recruiting. So I've gotten that question a ton. LSU had a sluggish start. How does that affect this class?
Well, I don't buy into that. They won a national championship last year. They didn't knock down every 5-star out there. I think it's more of, I say this all the time, high school kids lose football games. They don't care about that. They want to be on a team that has a chance to compete to win. Now, I'll say this. What hurts more than beating South Carolina or losing to Mississippi State? And look, kids like Mason Smith, they're watching the D-line. They think that it's the coolest thing in the world that B.J. Ojulari gets to play as a true freshman and is now SEC Freshman of the Week. So you'll see the spots that are playing well, guys love it. Cool, that's what I'm interested in. And you're not playing well at DB? Well, it's not like you recruit poorly at DB. You can go get guys who are signing up to play here. What hurts them here is not being in a dead period that lasts all the way to January. LSU won a national championship, and they will go an entire year from when they lifted the trophy with 2 months and maybe a week. No, that's not true, because in January they couldn't have kids on campus that whole stretch. So a month and a half of where they could actually have kids in on a visit of 12 months. So they didn't ever come and see the trophies. They didn't ever come and hold the Heisman. They didn't ever see the locker room maybe for the first time for these out-of-state kids. That's when teams like Bama and Clemson were popping kids from out of state. And LSU's got a top 5 class. They're going to have a really good class. But what's affected them most in recruiting is that it's been a dead period now for 8 months.
Shea Dixon, make sure you follow his work. He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon. Go 247, where you can go read up and catch up on all the recruiting news. LSU gets a commit today and possibly more to come. Shea, we appreciate it, man. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for having me on, as always, Matt.
Okay, man. We'll see you. Good stuff from Shea, and I'm glad he addressed it, because people ask all the time about recruiting, and if the season affects. And it's just, it's not lip service. You've just seen it so many times. Recruits look at things through a different lens than fans. They're not so much just looking at the final score of a game and how that might impact. There's just too many examples of it to speak to the contrary. Okay, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us. Brought to you by Relief Windows. We'll knock out a quick break. We'll jump back on Saints-Panthers from yesterday. Who showed up and showed out for New Orleans? We'll get to that next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in, carry out. 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice cold draft beer, full-service bar. Sports on TV. Tonight, every Monday, is Monday Night Football. That means it's also all-you-can-eat wings. So a phenomenal opportunity to get by Pluckers tonight. Get there early, stay there late, eat as many wings as you want. Get to scout the Saints' opponent next week, the Bears. Bears at Rams. You need a place to watch? Get by Pluckers. Nicholson just south of campus, or Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Sample 24 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Maybe if you're not into wings, that's all good. Sandwiches, salads, all different burgers, all different kinds of stuff on the menu. But really, tonight, Monday, all-you-can-eat wings. Pay one low price. Eat as many wings as you want. Watch Monday Night Football. It is the perfect time to get by Pluckers. Nicholson just south of campus. Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Dine in or carry out. Remember, at Pluckers. If you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Camry LE with 0% for 6 years or for $22,890. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
The winner is the dog with antioxidant vitamin C.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Payton was awesome the whole time, like so friendly, very quick to just come up, like let me know if there's anything you need, and just really make you feel like you're taken care of and you're
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Kevin Banta in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat asked a question. Matt, what are your thoughts on Jacoby Stevens playing closer to the line rather than safety? He looks out of place in the new defense. Kevin, candidly, I spent almost an hour today. I spent almost an hour searching for a clip of Ryan Clark on the show, and I couldn't find it, which makes me think maybe the conversation he and I had was off air. But as soon as Bo Pelini was hired and Jacoby Stevens announced he was coming back to school, Ryan was right there. I mean, in this studio, right there. I just don't remember if this was a conversation we had off air or on air. I thought it was on air, but I couldn't find it today. I went back and listened to like 4 interviews he and I did in the offseason. Anyway. And he said point blank, if I'm Jacoby Stevens, I walk into the coach's office today and say, move me to linebacker. Because LSU lost its top 4 linebackers a year ago. And obviously, they had to go get Jabril Cox, and I think he's struggled in this defense. And I think Damone Clark is just playing slow. I'm not saying Damone Clark is slow. I'm saying he's playing slow, and sometimes it happens when it's not firing yet. Do you remember, and you will remember when I tell you this, but in 2014, you had Kendall Beckwith, who was a sophomore, who was this freak show linebacker, and everybody wanted to see him, but DJ Welter was starting. And athletically, there was no comparison. It's not a knock on DJ. DJ was a good player. He was a really good high school player and was a good college player. Kendall Beckwith was a pro. He was an All-American, a pro. But the thing that Chavis went back and forth with on that staff all the time was, okay, Beckwith athletically is better, but we don't know that he's going to be where he's supposed to be. Welter, we know, is going to be there every time. We just don't know if he can make the play. Like, that was the difference between the two. And it's not a knock on either. It was just whenever the game slowed down for Beckwith, you knew it was going to look special. And it did. The guy was an All-American in 2016. He was sensational. Kind of waiting on that moment for Damone Clark, and I don't feel like it's happened. To flatly answer your question, Kevin, yes, that's something Ryan Clark said in this studio, like the day that Stevens announced he was coming back. He's like, move me to linebacker. Because at the next level, he's a linebacker. He's not a safety. I mean, it's obvious. He doesn't have the coverage skills. Like, Jacoby is a bigger safety who's better suited near the line. He's good at rushing the passer. He can play the run. Like, yes, I agree with you, Kevin. If you're looking for options right now, Jacoby Stevens at linebacker doesn't sound crazy. I'm going to ask that to Dary Beckwith in 10 minutes. He'll be with us, former LSU linebacker, played under Bo Pelini. Of course, was an all-SEC linebacker, was a fantastic player. I mean, would have played a long time in the NFL, but for knee injuries that cut his career short. But Dary is as smart, intuitive, athletic a linebacker as Bo Pelini had, and that's a mouthful considering he had guys like Ali Highsmith, who was an All-American in 2007. So we'll talk to Dary about that, and I'll ask him that very question coming up shortly. All right, glad to have you hanging out with us here. Monday show is brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Saints got a win yesterday, and a big part of that win was Marquez Callaway. If you remember, after the Green Bay loss, that's when the conversation about air yards popped up. And Michael Thomas was hurt. He wasn't out there, and the Saints could. And the point I made then was, as big a part as any that you have in with the Saints with the lack of air yards was you don't have a receiver that can stretch the field. You don't have Devery Henderson or Brandon Cooks or Ted Ginn. Like, you don't have that guy right now. I mean, everybody you have are receivers that are largely slot guys, underneath routes. That's how you built the team. I mean, you built the offense around Michael Thomas, who's basically a basketball player playing receiver. He's using his body to get space, and he's got strong hands, and he catches the ball. Like, that's what you are. If you're looking for the stretch the field guy, I mean, here it was. This was me after the Green Bay loss, talking about Callaway. Lobby for is Marquez Callaway from Tennessee. I saw that guy do it in the SEC. He made elite SEC defenders look look silly because he had great speed and he averaged better than 20 yards a catch in college. It's a guy I wanted to see then. It's a guy I'm glad we got to see yesterday. Some things just make sense. And if you think about this intuitively, Marquez Callaway comes out of Tennessee. He goes undrafted. But he makes a team as an undrafted free agent in a year where you had no OTAs, no mini camp, no full training camp, no preseason games. Basically, he had to make, any undrafted player, had to make such an impression on this team that it was almost as sure a thing as you can imagine. And then, I'll be darned, yesterday, no Mike Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders has COVID, and what happens? It's not Traquan. It's not the guy that was the third-round draft pick. It's the undrafted rookie free agent who steps up and has a big day. And listen, Callaway keeps saying all the right things. He said after the game, he talked about kind of being that next man up for this New Orleans Saints team.
You know, we go in each week practicing, preparing for anything, and that's what happened this week. You know, with Emmanuel going down and Mike not being able to play this week. So just like Alvin said, next man up. You know, I think Juwan did a great job when he got in there. You know, it's his first play, his first start, and I was happy for him. And we just went out there and had fun.
So Marquez Callaway talking about being next man up. Sean Payton even talked about the long odds of Callaway making the team in this COVID year.
Look, I'm honestly speaking, man, he had a real good training camp, and we felt optimistic about having him. A few of these younger guys, and you know, fortunately, we've been able to find some players like that. It's tougher for a first-year guy without the normal offseason, but he stepped up.
And Payton talked about the game that Callaway had yesterday, where he led the Saints with 8 receptions for 75 yards.
Well, I mean, look, chances are he played well today. If he's finding open areas, it's probably because it's zone. If it's man, we're moving. But we saw him have a good training camp, and we've seen him progress. A handful of guys were stepping up today and playing maybe in different roles they're used to, and that's just part of the deal right now.
But they keep winning, and you're having guys step up like that, and it's great to see. One more from Callaway, who talked about, can you play 3, please? This was Callaway talking about his comfort level with Drew Brees right now.
I think we click together pretty good. We go with all the quarterbacks really, with Jameis and Taysom and Drew. We work simultaneously with everybody. So it's not just, we go with Drew, because like y'all seen, Taysom getting there and be at quarterback too. So we got to be well with everybody.
So Callaway with a big day. He did leave with the ankle injury that he said wasn't serious. Good to see him there in the post game, which means you're very likely going to see him this coming week as well. And we'll see about Emmanuel Sanders and his availability as he hopefully comes off of the COVID list to be able to play in Chicago on Sunday. I also mentioned Marcus Davenport having a big day. Talked about that in hour 1. If not a big day, certainly the big play, the big moment. The other Marcus, though, is a gigantic concern right now. It's Marcus Williams. When you think about guys in contract years, they're always interesting to watch for the very obvious reason. They're playing for a payday. Look at Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson this season in a contract year, playing opposite Cam Jordan, coming off a year where Cam had 15.5 sacks, is commanding so much attention, and Hendrickson has absolutely maximized the opportunity with Davenport missing the first 5 games of the year. The flip side of that is Marcus Williams. Before the season, we went through, if you remember this, all of the statistics of the best safeties, of the highest paid safeties in the NFL. And statistically, Marcus Williams is right there. Go back and find it on the After Further Review YouTube channel. I can tweet out the link or something like that. But statistically, when you look at Budda Baker and Landon Collins and the best safeties in the NFL, Marcus Williams through the last 3 years is right there, neck and neck with all of them. But stats sometimes lie, and yesterday and this season is evidence of that. Marcus Williams is struggling to tackle, and he continues to miss assignments. I don't know how, when you're in year 4, you continue to have mental lapses like he had yesterday when DJ Moore scored the 74-yard touchdown. If you're Marcus Williams, how do you get caught creeping down to the right side and let DJ Moore streak for a 74-yard touchdown? It's the kind of play that's completely inexcusable for a guy that's that veteran. If you're a rookie playing your first game ever and you're a little aggressive and think maybe you're cheating, okay. But when Teddy Bridgewater basically tricks you with his eyes, Chris Spielman talked about it on the broadcast, moved him with his eyes, and you get beat for a 74-yarder, especially in that moment in the game where you feel like you have command of the game, and that one moment right there allows Carolina emphatically back into the game. I mean, you're dominating at that. You're 14-3 after Breeze's leap. They can't stop you. You've had the ball twice. You've scored both times. You feel like anything you do works. And then you let him bust you for a 74-yarder. It's just completely unacceptable. And this is going to be, not only is this tough for New Orleans for next year when you talk about if you're going to offer this guy a contract and how much, but for the remainder of this year, because your safety play has been so bad, you realistically have to think about this in terms of, do you need to go sign a safety now? To help people keep asking about Earl Thomas. Like, I'm all for it. Like, anybody, because right now, between the ears, my mindset with this team is you got to be doing what Tampa's doing. Tampa is all in, man. Leonard Fournette, come on. Gronk, come on. I mean, anybody, like Antonio Brown, come on. Shady, come on. Like, all of them. Anybody that might make you better right now to win right now, mortgage the rest, figure it out later to win right now. The Saints seem to be in that desperation mindset. It doesn't feel like they are, and this is another example of it. They're not going to win a Super Bowl this year playing defense the way they are. And I don't know how much better your personnel is going to get. We keep waiting because we've seen it happen each of the last 3 years. Start a little bit slow, but, man, when they hit their stride, they're really impressive. I just don't know what's going to happen this year. It doesn't look like it. We're waiting, but at some point, you got to be aggressive. And it feels like that point is now. Trade deadline's coming. You got to go get help in the secondary. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had a miserable game yesterday, too. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. From the professional defensive woes to the collegiate defensive woes, what's going on at linebacker with LSU? We'll ask Dary Beckwith when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital. They're online at brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. That's where you can learn more about the Baton Rouge General Hospital, which, of course, is part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. It doesn't matter what medical need you have, from delivering your bundle of joy to protecting your pumpkins here in Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The Baton Rouge General Hospital does incredible work. During the COVID-19 shutdown, they've continued to expand care. Virtual visits are available online at brgeneral.org. If you want to see a provider without leaving home, you can do it. If you need emergency care, they've reopened the Mid-City location of the ER at the Baton Rouge General. brgeneral.org to learn more. brgeneral.org. Baton Rouge General is part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network, where your doctor here locally has access to the world-class facilities and research of the Mayo Clinic. brgeneral.org. BR General, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
This was us 20 years ago. Since then, we've grown to over 200 employees. We've helped over 100,000 people purchase, build, renovate, or refinance. Over $17 billion in loans. We make the mortgage process easy and convenient. Apply online or at one of our local branches. If you're looking to buy, build, renovate, or refinance, go to gmfsmortgage.com to see how we can help change your life today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro part.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, so LSU's defense continues to struggle. It was better on Saturday than it had been, but it's still certainly not where the expectation is. Our guy Dary Beckwith, former All-SEC LSU linebacker, played under Pelini. We've leaned on him a bunch leading into and during the season because he's got a great perspective on Bo, the defense, and what these linebackers should be doing. Dary joins us again on the show. Beast, how are you, man?
Matt, I'm doing fabulous, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Sun shines a little brighter when both LSU and the Saints win, so it was a much easier wake-up today after a good weekend. But obviously, we continue to look at this LSU defense, which is struggling. Let me just ask you a very broad question to start. When you look at LSU, when you've watched them so far through 4 games, what do you see defensively?
2 things. The first thing is that those guys for the first few games were not playing hard enough. If you're going to have mistakes, if you're going to have mental errors, one thing you better do is get 11 guys to the ball, and that's what they were not doing. I did not see 11 guys to the football and playing hard. I think the second thing, Matt, is a personnel issue. I believe you have some guys in a position where they shouldn't be playing. And I understand that going into the season, those guys may have practiced well at their particular position, but it's a different ball game. When you can into the fire of the SEC, things move a lot faster than it does in the games. So those are 2 things that I've noticed so far through these first few games.
Well, here's hoping that they can fix the effort. But what about the personnel? So who do you think's out of place?
For one, I do believe, and I know he probably doesn't want to switch positions, is Jacoby Stevens. I do believe Jacoby Stevens would be a better fit at the inside linebacker position. And then Damone Clark, who I think is a phenomenal athlete, and I'm still pounding the table for Damone Clark. I do believe he's going to be a great player at LSU, but he's more suited for an outside edge rusher as opposed to the inside linebacker playing off the ball. That's difficult to guard these running backs out in space. Like, especially nowadays, you have to be able to play well in space, and his game is best suited for coming off the edge and getting pressure on the quarterback. And I believe a guy like Micah Baskerville can fill that role as inside linebacker and let Damone Clark move outside where you can really use his ability and talent to get some pressure on the quarterback.
So let's talk about some of these individually. And it's interesting you brought up Stevens because I referenced this in the last segment that when LSU was starting this year, Ryan Clark was in here and said point blank, if he was Stevens, he'd go to the coach and be like, move me to linebacker, because he thinks that's his spot at the next level is at linebacker. What is it about Stevens that you think would make him a better linebacker?
Anytime you have a guy playing safety, I can remember this guy was playing before I played, but he played at Georgia. Thomas Davis.
Oh yeah.
Thomas Davis was a phenomenal safety at Georgia. Phenomenal safety, but he was an in the box safety and he would knock you out. Transitioned to the NFL. Played outside linebacker, had a phenomenal career. Jacoby Stevens is not good enough in space. And what I mean by that, for instance, the game against Missouri, I think their first touchdown, the guy ran right by him because he was standing flat-footed. And let me tell you something, playing safety, those guys are at full speed at you. You better baby have some swift hips to turn and run with these guys. And I believe him being in the box, even last year with Aranda, he started making plays when he was close to the line of scrimmage. He didn't make plays away from the line of scrimmage. He made plays close to the line of scrimmage, batted balls, getting pressure on the quarterback. For him, being close to the line of scrimmage, playing linebacker, he'll be way more impactful than being off the ball and 15 to 20 yards deep.
Do you think it is doable as a senior to make that position switch 4 games into the season?
From a pride standpoint, he may have to check that part. And what I mean by that, he had success last year playing, quote-unquote, the safety position. But let's be honest, Aranda had him close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So from a price standpoint, he has to check that. Is it doable? Absolutely. Jacoby Stevens is a bright young man. He's intelligent, and I believe he does understand the defense, understand concepts. So it's very doable to switch to the inside linebacker spot mid-season. And let's face it, the defense, as you can recall, Pelini, they've numbed the defense down. So they're playing very basic, so it's not complicated. So far as the scheme and schematically, it's not much he has to catch on and learn at the linebacker position since they made things easier and simplified it.
So then, if they've simplified it, why is Damone Clark having so much trouble?
Again, it comes from a personnel standpoint, and I love Damone. I got to talk to him personally on a couple of occasions, it's not so much that doesn't have the ability to play in that defense. He's just out of position. It's like me, Matt. If I was when I played and they tried to put me at free safety, I mean, I would have gave up 3 touchdowns a game because I wasn't a free safety. I was better suited for the linebacker position. Damone Clark is better suited, from my standpoint, in my opinion, as an edge rusher. Again, I allude back to last year. Damone Clark, they tried to make inside linebacker last year. He wasn't successful. Towards the middle of the year, when the defense started to crank things up and they made different personnel changes, they put him as an outside edge rusher, had him blitzing, doing stunts, and he made an impact on the game. You can recall Michael Divinity last year against, I think, the first few games. When I saw him start at middle linebacker against Texas, I said, this is not going to work. Michael Divinity is 250-pound inside linebacker, which it doesn't correlate to today's game. Michael Divinity was an edge rusher. They made that change, and then the defense excelled, and they implemented Patrick Queen as an inside linebacker who, as you can tell, is probably going to be the defensive rookie of the year in the NFL.
Dary Beckwith is with us, former LSU linebacker, kind of sorting through what's going on with his defense through his eyes. Now, you mentioned Baskerville, and Baskerville did get on the field, man. There was a play in the second half where it was a third down play, and Clark kind of let the back slip by him and converted, and then the next play, Baskerville was in there. What do you think about Baskerville? Why do you think Baskerville would be better suited inside?
He can play more. He can play better in space. He can run a little bit more than Damone Clark. And these offenses, they spread you out now. And so what they're doing, especially in Pelini defense, his linebackers are asked to cover a lot. I remember when I played in that defense, it seems like years ago, but when I played that defense, you had to get out and guard the number 3 receiver. You had to do a lot of drops. So I believe Michael Baskerville is better suited for that position because of his ability to run. And also, he's not overly big, and he has the ability to wiggle. That play he made in the second half, where he kind of undercutted the lineman to block him and made the tackle before they got the first down. So he has a little more wiggle room, I think, than Damone Clark to play that position, and he's just better in space. There's nothing wrong with Damone Clark at all. But when you play an inside linebacker position, you have to be able to play in space. And today's game is no more these thumpers and being 240, 250. Those days are over with. You better be able to run and play in coverage, and that's something I think Michael Baskerville can get this defense.
Do you know the personnel, Dary? Because everyone else basically is a young player. We saw some of Josh White, but do you know the personnel well enough to know if there are any younger guys that they might be able to run out there and give it a go?
I don't know any guys if they're ready to play, but I would tell you this much: you can't get any worse. So,
I'm glad you said it.
you can't get any worse. So it's always, if you give a guy an opportunity to come in and play and see what he can do, then you never know what may happen. I know we're talking about defense right now, but look at a guy like T.J. Finley. I heard whispers that he only completed 50% of his passes in high school. He may have a hard time translating. Well, the guy Saturday looked comfortable. He looked like a seasoned vet. So you just never know if you give a guy opportunity what he can do when the lights are turned on.
A couple more for you. Dary Beckwith is our guest, former LSU linebacker. You played for Bo, and when they hired Bo, remember you came on the show and endorsed it and loved the hire. Mm-hmm. We talked about it a lot. There's very obvious and fair criticism right now. How much of it is Bo's defense being? This is what some will say, Dary. It's a 2005 defense he's trying to run in 2020. Does that make sense?
It does. It makes sense. I think the game has changed. Even when he was the head coach at Nebraska, the dynamics of offenses didn't fully switch. And then I think went to Youngstown. It's not the same as SEC. Now I do believe, and he'll tell you this. He's gonna take all the blame and all the criticism as far as he needs to get it fixed. But also, the players had to take the onus as well that, look, we have to get this thing together. Because, Matt, I don't know how much simpler you can get than what they're doing right now. The things that they're doing and the coverages that they're blowing, the run fits that they are having miscues on are things that you learned in high school. The first play of the game, when they ran the sweep, they didn't contain outside edge. They didn't turn the guy inside. Those are simple things that you learn in high school, and that's something these guys are not executing, why I have no idea. Because when you get to that level, when you get to the SEC level, coaches don't have enough time. Like, you're not gonna spend 30 minutes learning how to tackle. You better know how to tackle. They're not gonna spend 45 minutes in practice learning how to get off a block. They recruited you because you can get off a block. They recruited you because you can tackle. They recruited you because you are aggressive, you are physical. So they have to dig deep, find something inside of them to look. This is why we're at LSU, and go out and just play football and don't overthink it. Forget about last year. This is a brand new year, and make a legacy for yourself this year.
How much better can they get this year, Dary?
They still have room for improvement. I truly believe that. The reason I say that is, I just mentioned it. These things are fixable. I mean, setting the edge is fixable. Being aggressive, being physical, and getting off a block is fixable. Playing hard and getting 11 guys to the football is fixable. Now, if these guys were not talented, didn't have the ability, then we'll have an issue. But these guys are talented. They have the ability. Look at the freshman B.J. Ojolari, who's basically leading the conference in sacks. You look at a guy like Elijah Ricks, who's making plays. So these guys are super talented. I think what they have to do is just get back to the basics and look and playing football, and don't make it so difficult. It's just like riding a bike. Go out there and let loose.
Can you still run?
Absolutely not.
I never could, so don't worry about it. Dary Beckwith, former LSU linebacker. He's on Twitter at Dary Beckwith. Man, you got anything else going on right now with the foundation? Anything we need to let people know about?
Yes, man. So we're working on a curriculum right now with Spencer Smith over at Edward Jones financial literacy course. So we're going to get that kicked off in the spring. It's going to be a course where guys can actually go through it, learn about stocks, mutual funds, investments, and to get their mind thinking about the finances of their lives. And so we're going to have an opportunity for other kids to get involved in that. So we are working on that. So things are going good. I'm enjoying it every day, man. So definitely tell people to visit the website, DaryBeckwithFoundation.org, and let's help these high school student athletes get a different perspective outside of sports.
DaryBeckwithFoundation.org. Spell it out, DaryBeckwithFoundation.org. Beast, you the man. We appreciate a couple of minutes as always, man.
You too, Matt, man. Always a pleasure.
All right, but we'll catch up soon.
All
that is Dary Beckwith, former LSU linebacker. Every time I talk to Dary, I always feel like I learn a lot about football. He's such a bright guy, just with that sort of photographic memory. Remembers so much about what he played, what he did. It's great perspective, man. You kind of hear that over and over again about possibility of moving guys around that defense. We'll see if it hits home with Bo and with Ed, and if they decide to make some of those changes. Because the reality is, as excited as we are about the offense, defense still isn't good enough, man. You can't take that defense to Florida and win. You can't take that defense against Bama and win. That defense will give up 50 to Ole Miss. You got to get better defensively. All right, it's after further review. We'll wrap up hour number 2, Tigers and the Pros, next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery with 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. What an awesome week to get by Clegg's. Now, I know probably expecting some rain midweek, but the weather right now is just spectacular. 82 for the high. You're talking about getting into the 60s for the lows. Daylight savings ends this coming weekend, so it's that perfect fall into winter type weather. They're just about sold out of pumpkins over at Clegg's, but Halloween is this weekend, so if you still want to decorate, you can, but this is the key. Just plant something. So we talk about with Clegg's all the time. Just plant something. It's time to freshen up your flower beds. It's time to freshen up your patio pots with cool season bedding plants. Also, now through February is a good time to plant trees and shrubs, and nobody has a better selection than Clegg's. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Started making beer at home and immediately fell in love with it. After like the day of my first batch of brewing, I was already thinking, can I do this for a living?
Oh yeah, obsessed with it. He was totally consumed by it, and then looked at me one day and told me I was put on this earth to brew beer. And I was like, wow, that is such a bold statement. And if you can say that about anything, then you need to follow your dream and do it.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning.
Here you go.
All right.
Top speed.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2. As always, appreciate our friends at Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. Windows, door, siding, Relief Windows, and reliefwindows.com. A busy day and an unfortunate injury for a former Tiger. Let's do it. Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Kentucky's Best Hemp. Find them online at kysbesthemp.com.
Actually, going to get to that bad news last, because I got to start off with Joe Burrow. Kind of a ridiculous day yesterday.
Also bad news.
Why?
They lost.
Well, I mean, they lost to other Tigers, if that helps. 35 of 47 for 406 yards and 3 touchdowns. Burrow even had 6 carries for 34 yards and another touchdown. Through the ground and air so far this year, Burrow has a combined 2,144 yards and 12 touchdowns on the year.
Yeah, he's on pace to break the rookie passing record. He's got to shave the beard, though. The little, like, peach fuzz beard thing looks terrible. Some people aren't meant to have facial hair. He's one of them.
I didn't even see the beard.
Right.
Yeah, all right. It's there?
Yeah.
All right.
That picture right there, he's got it.
Weak.
I know.
Leonard Fournette had 11 carries yesterday for 50 yards. Ronald Jones actually out-touched Fournette with 2 more carries, but Jones had 16 fewer yards. So hopefully Leonard continues to shine in Tampa. Well, for most games. We can have him take off for 1.
And he still rocks the LSU shoulder pads.
Isn't that great?
It is.
Fournette also had 6 catches for 47 yards. In that same game, Devin White had 11 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 more tackles for a loss.
Wow.
Man.
Sick of seeing LSU linebackers in the NFC South.
Yeah. Tyrann Mathieu had 5 tackles yesterday, also deflected a pass and picked off a pass with an 18-yard return.
Made a snow angel, too.
I didn't see that. I only saw a box score. Darn it.
Yeah.
Hate to miss that.
Not a ton of snow in Denver. It's like like a little surface layer.
Okay.
But Tyron's making the snow angel out
Well,
there.
I mean, he's from New Orleans. Any snow is big.
Yeah, for sure.
Also getting a pick yesterday was Patrick Peterson, though his had no return on the back end. Peterson also had 4 tackles and 2 pass deflections. Let's go back to that Kansas City game where Clyde Edwards-Helaire had 8 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown.
And it's Helaire.
I said Helaire.
No, you did. You said Helaire. Emphasis on the E, not the lair.
I'm just going to start saying Clyde.
Say Clyde.
Okay.
That's good.
Clyde did have to share carries with Le'Veon Bell. Bell had 6 on the day. Clyde also added 1 catch for 17 yards. Russell Gage pulled in 6 catches yesterday for 54 yards, and the bad news Matt alluded to, Odell Beckham is done for the season. Tore his ACL on the second play of Sunday's game against the Bengals, so he out.
Tigers in the Pros, brought to you by KYSBestHemp.com. KYSBestHemp.com. Hour 3 getting you kicked off coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by South Point Volkswagen, SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. SouthPointVW.com. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or might be in the market for a new vehicle, make sure you put Volkswagen on your list. And as we all know, the end of the month is always the best time to buy a new vehicle whenever you got to meet monthly quotas. I didn't say that out loud, but yes, I did. The end of the month is always the best time to go buy a new vehicle, especially when you get close to the end of the year. So go to South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Because they move more inventory than anyone, they can give you the best deal of any Volkswagen dealer in the state. It's South Point Volkswagen. So many people shop online. If you want that contactless experience, you can do the whole thing. You can apply for financing online. You can shop online. You can have all of that communication contactless right now with South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, or online at southpointvw.com. South Point Volkswagen. What's your direction?
Hello?
What's up, B? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Here at the Big Squeezy, we continue to serve the Baton Rouge and Southeast Louisiana areas during these troubling times. We are dedicated to providing you healthy food items to help you live your best life. From our cold-pressed juices to our delicious smoothies, let the Big Squeezy keep you going. Stay active, stay happy, and let us help you stay healthy. Visit us at our locations and also inside of Alexander's and Mathern's grocery stores or online at thebigsqueezy.com.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
At Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Highlander for $4,500 off MSRP. That's right, $4,500 off MSRP. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. At this hour, the 2020 NFL season seems to be over for Browns receiver Odell Beckham Jr. An MRI confirmed a torn ACL in his left knee, which is expected to end his season. Beckham's impact will be felt, but Cleveland's offense, with its quarterback leading the way, can deal with it, explains ESPN's Ryan Clark.
Baker Mayfield is going to spread the ball around a little bit more. Obviously, Kevin Stefanski will rely on the run as much as he can, but this is going to be incumbent on Baker Mayfield to continue the play we saw on Sunday down the road in order to try to help the Cleveland Browns get into the playoffs.
Cardinals running back Kenyon Drake expected to miss a couple of weeks with a slight tear of a ligament in his ankle. Florida back at practice for the first time in about 2 weeks. The Gators stopped all football activities after a coronavirus outbreak spread through the team. Head coach Dan Mullen said Florida will have the league minimum 53 players for Saturday's scheduled game against Mizzou. And Purdue coach Jeff Brom plans to return to work Wednesday after self-isolating because of a positive coronavirus test. He should be back on the sideline for Saturday's game against Illinois.
We're back on Tuesday, recapping the Bears and the Rams from Monday night. I'm telling you, Nick Foles has a lot to prove in this game tonight. Join me, Jay, Will, and Zubin Tuesday at 6 Eastern, ESPN Radio, ESPN News.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Hour 3. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
The Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
And Mr. Toby Tomplet. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you're driving home with us. It's so much easier on a Monday after the Tigers and the Saints win. In about 15 minutes, I do want to talk a little more about the day Alvin Kamara had and put some perspective on it. And also want to talk about Michael Thomas, as there are continue to be rumors swirling about, and there were this weekend, about the possibility of trading Michael Thomas, which Sean Payton seemed to nip in the bud. But Sean Payton's favorite reporter, Jay Glazer, who they are close personal friends, elaborated today. So we'll get to that here in about 15 minutes from right now. But so LSU wins on Saturday, and TJ Finley plays a fantastic game. And if you watch that game compared to just looking at the box score, there's going to be notable differences. The box score in and of itself isn't something that's going to wow you. Finley was 17 of 21 for 265, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. It's a very good day. But context is what matters. When you understand that he's a true freshman making his first start, the pick was a miscommunication between he and Jeray Jenkins. And by and large, TJ Finley was poised and spectacular on Saturday. And you can also see the size, the athletic ability, the ease with which he throws the ball, all of the ability in the world, and the moxie to go with it is a reason many people are very excited about TJ Finley, and you should be. But as I was watching the game, I wrote down, and we talked about some of this on Whiskey and Wine. If you were with us for the postgame show on Saturday, you heard us discuss this. But I wanted to talk about it here for the benefit of those that missed it. There were 4 things that I wrote down. 5, actually, that I think are all relevant as it pertains to the offense, to the quarterbacks, and how you move forward. Because, listen, while Ed Osher on postgame didn't want to talk about a quarterback controversy, it's here. It may not be after Saturday, depending on what happens at Auburn, but it's here today, and we're going to talk about it. So, first question that I asked, and I asked this on Whiskey and Wine of Jordy, of Rohan, of everyone was there, would the game Saturday have been any different with Miles Brennan? And the consensus was no. Because LSU's offensive line was dominant. They did not allow a sack, and LSU ran for nearly 300 yards on the day. It was an absolute dominating performance by LSU's offensive line. I think Brennan, who threw for 400 yards the last time we saw him, and clearly had gotten exponentially better week 1 to week 2, week 2 to week 3, would have been able to function on that day, and it probably looks very similar. That's fair. I think, right? That's fair. I think it's also worth asking, how will TJ Finley play on the road? We don't know that answer. There's a lot of people saying, hey, look, man, roll with Finley. Even when Brennan comes back. Sorry, Wally Pipp. It's time. And I'm not there yet. While I do think certainly TJ Finley's proven he could be a very good SEC quarterback, maybe even great in time. We have seen freshmen have their ups and downs. So what happens if Finley starts on the road at Auburn and it looks like Brandon Harris's started Auburn in 2014? This conversation is very different next week. Or maybe Finley goes to Auburn and throws for 280, a couple of scores, LSU wins, and now you have a very real conversation about what you do coming out of the bye against Alabama. But again, we don't need to make that decision today. Let's wait and see what happens on the road against Auburn this weekend. A couple of the other things that I wrote down. One undeniable truth now, as we sit 4 games into this season for LSU, is that LSU has an offensive identity. That's no longer in doubt. And sometimes it's hard to see the forest through the trees, meaning when you're in the season, you don't think about the big picture questions. But what a lot of people were asking after the 2019 season was if that performance by LSU was lightning in a bottle, if it was a moment in time, if with Joe Brady and Joe Burrow gone to the NFL, and then you lose Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Justin Jefferson and Thad Moss and 4 starters on your offensive line, etc., would LSU's offense regress? The answer is no, flatly. LSU has an offensive identity. I think Steve Ensminger is doing a heck of a job right now with a largely new cast of talent on this offense at continuing to churn. 52 points is incredible. Now, LSU did get a pick 6, and they got a kickoff return for a touchdown. But still, the offensive efficiency has been incredible. And if we wondered, would the offense regress, we've gotten our answer. Both with a 4th-year junior at quarterback and with a true freshman at quarterback, we've gotten our answer. And the other part of that is LSU can develop quarterbacks. I have this folder that I bring in here every day, and it's got different like live reads, different notes that I may need. And in the back of this folder, I kept this sheet of paper. And it was about LSU's quarterback past and why it had been so bad. It was a lot of just notes and stuff that I had kept throughout the years. I can probably now crumple it up because it doesn't matter anymore. Like, we have the answer. You're not hoping that LSU can recruit a good quarterback or develop a mid-level talent guy. Like, this offense has evolved to the point where you can take quarterbacks, elite quarterbacks want to play in this offense, and you can take guys like Finley who are a 3-star, put them in, and they can roll. And when you think about what LSU is going on right now, and I've heard this from so many fans, well, what are you going to do? Like, well, if you put Miles back in, is TJ going to transfer? What about Max Johnson? Like, what is he going to leave now too because Finley played well? I'm like, hey, hold on. In college football in 2020, nobody stays. Okay? This is the norm. Guys don't stay. You're just experiencing this now for the first time. LSU had quarterbacks leave. You had Justin McMillan and Lowell Narcisse and Lindsey Scott leave. It happens. You've just never had it happen with an elite talent. Go look at Georgia. how different does the Georgia football program feel today if Justin Fields had stayed in Athens? If Kirby Smart in 2018 picked Justin Fields instead of Jake Fromm? How different is the Georgia program? How different is the Ohio State program? Which is why I think that is the biggest thing facing Ed Orgeron right now. The time is going to come. It's not today. Miles Brennan's going to get healthy. He's going to come back, and you're going to give him a chance to play again. Be it as a starter, rotate, whatever, however it looks, I don't know. And that's going to dictate it. The circumstance as it plays out will dictate that. But the reality is, if you're Ed Orgeron, at some point you're going to have to pick. You have to pick. Is it Miles? Is it Max? Is it TJ? Whatever. However, look, you're going to have to pick. And you better choose correctly. Because if you don't, you end up with Jake Fromm instead of Justin Fields. If you don't, you end up with Kellen Mond instead of Kyler Murray. Right? Got to pick the right guy. That day's not today, but it's coming. And when it does, you better make the right choice, because that's going to dictate the immediate future of your program and the success that you have, if it's really good or if it's elite. But for every fan that's worrying today, oh, what are they going to do, man? Is he going to leave? Is he going to transfer? Yes. One of them is going to transfer. Maybe two of them will transfer, because that's what quarterbacks do now. They don't wait. Miles Brennan is the great outlier. Nobody waits 4 years to play. They leave. That's okay. That's what happens. That's why you always recruit another one. That's why not signing a quarterback in 2018 was mind-blowing. Thank God you got Burrow. You got very lucky. That's what it is. You got lucky that a generational quarterback had lost out on the starting job at Ohio State, and you were able to sign him over Cincinnati. Like, you got lucky. And it was awesome and amazing, and it's opened the door for all these wonderful possibilities. That's why you've got Nussmeier and Howard and either Holstein or Archman, whoever. Like, you've got more coming. Because you have to. You can't miss a year. Because they're going to transfer. But when the time comes to pick, you better pick the right one. But that day's not today. Ed Orgeron today did say that they'd give Miles Brennan about 25% of the reps. He's not going to play Brennan unless he's 100%, which very likely means Brennan's not playing this week, which makes a lot of sense. Last week, when we talked about this and we had Dr. Chad Loop on the show, he told us point blank, he's like, look, this is a 4 to 6 week injury. So, Brennan, by the way, if he doesn't play until Bama, that would be 35 days. That'd be 5 weeks right in the middle. So you likely don't see Brennan this week. And then next week you have the bye, which is the smart thing to do. So play Finley this week, see how he does on the road, and then you have a more educated decision to make before you play Bama. But make no mistake, y'all. This is a heck of a lot better than choosing between Danny Etling and true freshman Miles Brennan. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001 for River City's 1 Hour Air. Go read the reviews. I tell you all the time. Read the reviews, see what your friends and neighbors have to say about River City's 1 Hour Air, because you keep hearing the same thing over and over again. Tricia sent this one in via Facebook, who said, Jason did a great job. I came home from work at 5:30. My AC was blowing hot. I called at 5:53. There was someone here, and my AC was fixed by 6:45. Amazing service. That's, again, from Tricia on Facebook. Go to Facebook. Go to Google. Go read the reviews. See what your friends and neighbors are saying about River City's 1 Hour Air, and you'll find out what I find out every time I call River City's 1 Hour. They're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. They're timely. They're punctual. They're polite. They do great work. They do it right the first time to prevent you having multiple service down the road. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001.
When morning came to Louisiana, we were hopeful, not hibernating. We were mending fences, feeding neighbors, and holding our kids. When morning came to Louisiana, we were wide awake, planting seeds for next year's crops. We were stronger, ready for what's next. And together, as we build anew, Blue Cross stands ready to support you.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now. Upgrade your boat tech. Make your boating dreams come true. Front to Back Boat Services.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
They are exactly the same.
They're identical. Actually, they're not. Has to also has antioxidant vitamin C.
Antioxidant?
Then we'll take Has to.
Given the choice, why wouldn't you choose the one with antioxidant vitamin C? Choose Vizzy Hard Seltzer.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, cruising through here on a Monday edition of AFR. Tigers win, Saints win. That's really much easier to do your show on a Monday after that. We appreciate our friends at Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. Windows, door siding, Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. So, Michael Thomas, again, did not play, and he's questionable for this week. But one thing seems clear is that Michael Thomas will continue to be a member of the New Orleans Saints. So, Pro Football Talk, Mike Florio, who Sean Payton doesn't really have a grand affinity for, reported over the weekend that Michael Thomas and that the Saints were discussing trade offers for Michael Thomas. And BR Gridiron tweeted, a Bleacher Report Gridiron tweeted, some NFL insiders believe the Saints could be willing to discuss trade offers for Michael Thomas at Pro Football Talk, to which Sean Payton, from his verified Twitter account, replied, insiders on the outside where they belong. Essentially putting to rest any notion that Michael Thomas would be traded. It's very clear over the years that Sean Payton does not have a grand affinity for Mike Florio. Cool. I think Florio is largely the anonymous source guy that tries to kick ant hills and looks for the Sunday Splash reports and all that stuff. It's not to say he's never right and not to say he doesn't have good connections, but he does too much of that, which I can understand why, if you are someone who is a subject, if you are a newsmaker, you could grow tired of that. Whereas, I mean, if you're Florio, you could just call Sean Payton, ask him, do a more respectable job. Sean Payton, on the flip side, has a great relationship with Jay Glazer of Fox Sports. And Jay Glazer does this Ask Glazer thing on social media where people will tweet him questions. He'll answer them. One of the questions was about Michael Thomas.
Is there more to the Mike Thomas situation that they're trying to keep quiet? Well, here's the situation. Even when he had a hamstring injury this week, people looked at it a little bit sideways. The truth is, the Saints MRI'd it, and it did come back with a grade 1 strain of that hamstring, which means that's like a 1 or 2 week injury. I do think that there's still room for Mike Thomas and Sean Payton to get back on the same page here, but he is such an incredibly explosive player. His contract is probably too much to go trade. So people think right now, do we go trade Michael Thomas? I don't see too many teams are able to take on that contract. I think the best bet right now is to get those two guys back on the same page.
Clearly, Sean Payton, throughout his time in New Orleans, literally from his first season, the first thing he did was he came in and he changed the culture. Guys like Wayne Gandy and Dante Stallworth were shipped out, and they brought in guys that were more team-oriented culture fits in New Orleans. If it was you're bringing in Jonathan Vilma, adding guys like Shanley and Fujita and Mark Simoneau and veteran players who were going to be more team-oriented, more team-focused. Of course, you brought in Drew Brees at the center of all that. And then after the Saints had won and you saw the culture start to go awry again, what did he do? Jimmy Graham, out. Kenny Stills, out. Brandon Cooks, out. Wholesale changes of really good players who you even had on the cheap, like a Kenny Stills who you drafted in the 5th round and you had maximized and you got rid of him because for Sean Payton, the culture in the locker room was more important. That's why anytime we ask about a player, if they're going to bring in and work out Antonio Brown or something like that, and you go, Janoris Jenkins last year, man, is the culture, is it going to work with that guy? If it wouldn't, Sean wouldn't sign him, period. I mean, that's just what it is. He's shown he values the culture. He values the locker room, guys liking each other, wanting to play together and be together over whatever your talent can be, that you are, in fact, replaceable. Whether he's right or wrong, I don't know, but it seems to have worked for him throughout his career. Think about all the stories, a couple of years ago when the Saints won the NFC Championship game and, like how many stories popped up about how much that team liked each other, how much they got along, how fun it was, all their post-game dance parties, like in the winning locker room. I mean, it was just, with Choppa style and everything. I mean, that's what they've built around this organization. It's why free agents want to be here. It's why guys who have won here want to stay here. It's why Teddy Bridgewater in the Dome on Sunday was so embraced and talked on the Fox broadcast about how being in New Orleans for 2 years is the best 2 years of his life. That's the culture they built. That's why if there was really a problem with Michael Thomas, even though he's Michael Thomas, Sean Payton would ship him out. They would find a way to do a deal to get him out of the locker room if that was really the issue. If Sean Payton is going on Twitter saying insiders where they belong on the outside, it tells you what you need to know. It's been a tough year. There's no question. Michael Thomas sets the NFL record for receptions. He gets a massive contract, which he absolutely deserves. And now for the first time in his career, he's faced adversity, having to miss an extended amount of time. It stinks. I don't even mind the fight on the practice field because that happens. Spilling into the locker room is too much. And they disciplined him. And now they're all back on the same page. And the hamstring deal is apparently real because if Jay Glazer's saying he's getting it directly from Sean Payton, grade 1 strain. So you can't rush back from a hamstring. We know that. That soft tissue stuff, we just heard it too much. You injure it once, you rush back, you're going to keep re-injuring. It's going to be even more difficult to come back. So let's be patient. I mean, obviously the hope is, we hope that you'd have Michael Thomas back this past Sunday, and that was the plan until he had the hamstring strain. Now that might keep him out against the Bears as well. If that does, then the hope is you get him back for the game in Tampa in a couple of weeks. Either way, I don't think Mike Thomas is going anywhere because if Sean Payton is saying it, he means it sincerely. But what has happened as a result of Michael Thomas's absence now since week 1, and then this past week, of course, Emmanuel Sanders on the COVID list, it's put even more of an emphasis on Alvin Kamara. And I'm watching the game yesterday against Carolina, and the thing that pops into my mind is obviously we knew Kamara was injured a year ago. We all knew it. I mean, he hurt his knee. He had a knee and an ankle injury, and he's even said he's played on one foot. But even still, so many people this offseason kept talking about how the Saints should trade Kamara, let him walk. Now, I told you what I thought he was worth. I would have pegged it somewhere in the $10 million range, but figured he'd get a little more than that, and ultimately got what effectively isn't guaranteed money, the Derrick Henry deal. But what Alvin Kamara is showing right now is that he is worthy of MVP consideration. And one of the things, back to the point, just let me finish that point real quick. Clearly, what this is showing right now is how jacked up he was a year ago. Because he was nothing close to the player we saw the first couple of years of his career or what we were seeing right now. And in the absence of Michael Thomas, the Saints are 4-2 because of Alvin Kamara. Drew Brees, first half against the Chargers, stunk. And that ain't the first time we've said that about Drew this year. Now, on Sunday against Carolina, that was the flash that we've heard people talk about. Brees would flash it this year. And you will. You will see glimpses of his greatness. I don't think we're going to consistently see it every week, as has been evident so far through 6 games. But you are where you are at 4-2, holding this thing together, still very much in contention because of Alvin Kamara. The age-old question as we debate it is, when you say most valuable player, how do you define it? Best player, best team, most important position on the best team, best stats. Is it actually value? People can define it different ways. I always define it as it's intended to be defined. Most valuable player. Who is, in essence, bringing the most value to his team and therefore the most irreplaceable. And yes, it is a quarterback league. I'm not denying that. And Russell Wilson has been sensational to start this season and will probably, if the season ended today, would win the MVP in a landslide even with last night's loss. But the reality is, Alvin Kamara should be in that conversation. But MVP has become a best quarterback on the best team award. Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, it's what it is. A running back hasn't won MVP since Adrian Peterson in 2012 when he had his 2,000-yard season in Minnesota. Prior to that, it was LaDainian Tomlinson in 2006. So in the last 14 years, you've had 2 non-quarterbacks, both running backs, win the award. Maybe Alvin Kamara will be in the running for Offensive Player of the Year, which Michael Thomas won a year ago, and justifiably so. But Alvin Kamara deserves to be an MVP conversation. Now, can he keep up this pace the entire season? I don't know. But it's 5 straight 100-yard games for Alvin Kamara. 100 yards from scrimmage. 5 straight. When you look at some of these numbers, it's amazing. One of 4 running backs in the NFL since 1950 with at least 450 receiving yards to the first 5 games. I mean, he's doing things right now that only Christian McCaffrey and Roger Craig had done in the history of the NFL. 2,500 rushing yards, 2,500 receiving yards through 4 seasons. And he's only 6 games into year 4. I mean, he's remarkable. And without Alvin Kamara, the Saints aren't 4-2 right now. And maybe the most impressive part about it all is that he just got paid. So often we see guys get their money and then regress. They get paid, then they get fat and happy, and they never produce at that level again. Alvin Kamara got paid, and it's almost like all that did was dump gasoline on the fire and make him want to work harder to live up to that contract. I get it, there's a long way to go in the season. But if Alvin Kamara keeps this pace through 17 weeks, and the Saints make the playoffs and are able to go on some type of run, if Alvin Kamara isn't in the MVP, not Offensive Player of the Year, not All-Pro, MVP conversation, it's criminal. Because then it's effectively just a quarterback award. And if that's what it's going to be, that's what it'll be. Like the Heisman, just best quarterback, best team. I get it. But if you're talking about who's the most valuable player, it's hard to argue that Alvin Kamara shouldn't be in that conversation right now. All right, it's after further review. Glad to have you with us. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. I do want to talk a little more about the day TJ Finley had. Also, Ed Ogeron with some news today about Dare Rosenthal, what it means for the LSU offensive line. We'll get to that. If you want to join us, you can. 499-1045, 499-1045, or toll-free 844-568-MATT, 844-568-6288. You can tweet us at Matt Moscona or jump in the Bayou Forward YouTube chat. Lots of ways you can get involved in the show. We appreciate you for being here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows.
AFR.
If you're thinking about selling your home, you know what to do. Call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Check out the website at agent225.com or call Darren James. If you want to be in your new home for the new year, if you want to be in your new home for the holidays, You got to start today. It's coming, y'all. November is the #1 home selling month in our city every single year. Beat the rush by calling Darren James today. And with so many people going through the refinancing process, I'm telling you, it's tougher to get to close now. Make sure you leave yourself about 6 weeks. Call Darren James today. Call Darren James and get your home sold. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. Working with Darren obligates you to nothing, so call Darren James and get your home sold.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. Buy a new one for less than a used one. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Hello?
What's up, E? What you doing?
Chilling at the office working. You?
Hanging at the job site. Chilling.
Roof's up?
Hey, Greg, roof up? Roof's up. Roof's up.
Roof's up.
Roof's up?
Roof's up.
Roof's up! Roof's up! Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Highlander for $4,500 off MSRP. That's right, $4,500 off MSRP. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, cruising along, get to Otter Locks here in about 15 minutes from right now. Also, what we learned, if you want to comment, not too late to do it. You can jump in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. It continues to grow, and we appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe and set your notifications so when we go live, you can watch all of our shows there. And remember, the After Further Review YouTube channel is there as well if you want to catch segments and interviews that you might have missed. It's all there on the After Further Review YouTube channel. So Ed Ogeron met with the media today, and he did share a little bit of news with the media about Dare Rosenthal and his future. This is 11, Brennan, if you would. Here was Ed Ogeron earlier Monday.
Dare is suspended from the team indefinitely.
I don't know when he's going to be back. That's it.
So not elaborating there, and I don't think that that's a great surprise. I don't know that there are many coaches that do talk about the reason for suspensions. The former coach here wouldn't even say the word suspension. He would use the phrase withheld from play. But Ed did clarify there that Darry Rosenthal is suspended from the team. And listen, I'm not here to knock a player or anything like that. But the reality is, circumstantially, we did see Darry Rosenthal struggle, right? I mean, a year ago, Sadiq Charles was withheld from play for half the season. He served a 6-game suspension. So if you remember how they did it, when they picked and chose the 6 games that Sadiq missed, and they essentially let Dare play the non-conference game. So Dare started against Northwestern State and against Utah State. And when they had to play an SEC team that Sadiq missed, like, if I remember correctly, Ole Miss. Remember what they did? They kicked Adrian McGee out to left tackle because they trusted him more. I think they look at Darry Rosenthal and they see a big, long, athletic guy who they think has the skill set to play left tackle in the SEC, but it never really has materialized for him at a high level. And whenever the season started, then we saw Darry was going to miss the Vanderbilt game and Cam Wire started. We went through this whole off-season chain of events on the offensive line. If you remember, if you were here for it, we walked through everything Ed Ogeron had said from the end of the season all the way up until now, from the uncertainty on the line and how Chasen Hines was the center, and then they couldn't get the snap, and thought Shanahan would just be a backup, and then Shanahan's playing center, and how Anthony Bradford was actually the best offensive lineman they had. Now Bradford's not even starting, and they moved Hines over, and the backups were the freshmen with Martinez, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's Cam Wire at left tackle. And Wire played against Vanderbilt and played really well. And then Wire played this past weekend against South Carolina, and I think played even better as part of a very dominant performance from the offensive line. So I guess, I did an interview today on the Chuck Oliver show, and he asked me about Rosenthal, and I said, look, I mean, I get it. Whenever you hear that your left tackle is out, a lot of people, it's going to get your attention because that's one of those spots. I mean, the most valuable spots. Just look at the NFL draft. It's quarterbacks, and then it's people who protect or impact the quarterbacks, either an edge rusher or a left tackle. That's basically the only positions that go number 1 overall. So you hear left tackle out, then I get why people are going to look at that and go, oh, it's a big loss. I don't think it is, man. I think Wire is a better player. Where I absolutely think it matters is what has been the theme we've talked about all summer is depth. You lose another scholarship player, a guy that's played. I think that's where it hurts even more with Rosenthal out, and I don't know if they're going to get him back. But with Rosenthal out and Wire starting at left tackle, LSU was sensational on the offensive line, and Ed Ogeron, number 2, if you would. Ed Ogeron said as much today. Ed Ogeron 2, please.
Offensive line was the MVP. No sacks. Did a great job. Cam Wire went in there and did another fantastic job. Give James Craig the credit.
So offensive line was the MVP. A big part of that, obviously, was having Ed Ingram back as well on Saturday. And here's what Ogeron said about Ingram.
Big advantage. And, we ran some gap plays, a power play where we pulled the guard. We had some double teams. We were knocking people off the ball. We were physical. We knew we had to be physical because we saw South Carolina out physical their opponents the last couple of weeks. And, man, that big block that Ed had, he pulled to his right, was really good. Good to see him. Yes, it make a difference. It made a difference on the goal line when our offensive line came off the ball in a surge, enabled us to get the points on the goal line or the 1-yard line. Like the week before, we didn't. So there was tremendous improvement.
Something we talked about after the Missouri game is how different might it have been at the goal line if you had Ed Ingram, because I don't think there's any doubt that you run behind your best, most physical offensive lineman. He wasn't there, and said you had Charles Turner, who's 280 pounds, and it absolutely made a difference. I'm not saying that's why LSU lost the game, but that you're going behind Ed Ingram in a goal line situation if he's there. also tip of the cap because Ed said they would fix the goal line, and they did. Instead of going out of the shotgun and running with a flat-footed running back, you went under center and basically snuck your 6'6", 240-pound quarterback, which is absolutely the right play. A little more, though, from Ogeron on Wire replacing Dare.
I'm very impressed with Cam. We recruited Cam. He was probably about 270, 280. We knew he'd gain weight, but he had quick feet. He's gotten better and better and better, and he's playing pretty well right now. So, Cam is our starting left tackle. He's banged up a little bit also. He's got to stay healthy. And then if Cam couldn't go, we'd have to put in Charles Turner, would be our second-team left tackle.
That's a little bit of a concern because you talk about guys that are light. Charles Turner is certainly in that group as well. Turner did start against Missouri, played left guard in place of Ed Ingram. But as Ed Ogeron told us before the season, your rotational guys, your next two were Wire and Charles Turner. Turner was supposed to be the interior guy, and Wire is the backup tackle. Well, you may have to end up using Turner at tackle as well. So depth, that's the bigger issue right here. It's not losing Dale Rosenthal because Wire's probably a better player right now. It's more depth issues there. All right, it's After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEYE.com, 924-2020, 924-2020, WilliamsonEYE.com. Dr. Blake Williamson, he's done LASIK on the stars, man, from Devin White and Warren Morris to a guy like Caleb Von Chasson, of course, former LSU outside linebacker, now with the Jacksonville Jaguars, number one draft pick of the Jags, edge rusher. This offseason had his LASIK done over at the Williamson Eye Center. There's actually a video up on their Facebook page of Dr. Blake and Caleb Von chatting about the whole procedure there. You can go check that out. But the bottom line is, if you're a multi-million-dollar athlete like Caleb Von Chasson and you trust Dr. Blake Williamson to do your LASIK, wouldn't you? I did. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEYE.com. I cannot stress enough, if it's LASIK, if it's PRK, if it's a lens replacement for someone like Jimmy Ott or my dad who had a lens replacement, even my grandmother who's in her 80s, she had a refractive procedure done with Dr. Blake Williamson. No matter how young or old you are, whatever your refractive issue is, there is an option for you, but you got to go for that free consultation at the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEYE.com. All right, been a good Monday show, man. We appreciate you for being here. If you miss any of the show, you can always catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com. AFR On Demand presented by Brett Golf. Richard Condon joined us in hour number one, celebrating LSU's first kickoff return for a touchdown in Tiger Stadium since 1981. Shea Dixon was with us last hour. LSU did pick up a commitment today from a safety, Matthew Langlois from Catholic of Point Capee, and they dished out an offer to Jack Besh, who's related to our buddy Blaine Besh, of course, and Brett Besh, a couple of former LSU wide receivers. So good lineage there, and Jack's been one of the best receivers in the state. So Jack Besh got his offer, and I'd be surprised if he didn't pull the trigger for LSU. Dary Beckwith was with us last hour as well, former LSU linebacker, talking about what he would do to fix this defense, what he expects Bo Pelini might do to fix this defense. If you missed any of it, make sure you catch it on demand at 1045ESPN.com. All right, y'all, it is After Further Review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. When we come back, we'll do some Otter locks with Jimmy Ott, and we'll do what we learned. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Monday edition of AFR. Stick around.
AFR.
Hey, if you need dinner plans tonight, Ichiban, always a great option. Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. You can get the menu online, or you can order online. This is super easy. Like maybe you're at work, you're about to knock off, you don't want to cook dinner tonight, or you don't feel like having leftovers. No sweat. Go to ichibanbr.com, ichibanbr.com. Top right, you'll see order online. So you can place your order online. You can designate what time you want to pick it up, and you can pay for it online. So it's really easy. So when you pull up, you can have a completely contactless experience. Pull up, call the phone number that's on the parking spot. They'll bring your order to you so you never have to leave your vehicle. So if you're COVID conscious right now, Ichiban is going above and beyond for you. Now, if you want to have a great dining experience, romantic date night, entertain a client, whatever it may be, Ichiban's fantastic. Either location, Essen near Perkins or Airline Highway in Gonzales. Voted by you the best sushi in the best of 225. Make tonight an Ichiban night.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can get into a 2020 Camry LE with 0% for 6 years or for $22,890. Hurry in, they won't last long. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. Buy a new one for less than a used one. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty, and with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
T-Bob Hebert here with breaking news. Front to Back Boat Services is the shop to upgrade your boat tech this fall. With not one but two NMEA certified techs, who better to install your Panoptic sonar, your HD displays. You want to see the fish under the water before you even cast? They have that. Trolling motor you could control with your iPhone? They have that. So what are you waiting for? Get into Front to Back Boat Services right now.
Failure happens to us all. After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR. Just about time for Otter Locks, presented by Hot Rods Creole.
Otter Locks, presented by Hot Rods Creole. The way to Creole. Shop online, hotrodscreole.com.
Really great time as we move toward the holidays to think about hot rods and to order online, hotrodscreole.com, hotrodscreole.com. That's Rodney Beloso, Cade's dad. We look forward to see some Tiger baseball coming up here in a few months, but check them out online, man. Awesome products. Try the garlic butter. It's great on anything. Shop online at hotrodscreole.com, hotrodscreole.com. The new way to Creole. Make sure you get your gift boxes. If you want the Big Daddy box, the starter kit, or the barbecue kit, we got it for you. Get one of everything that they have. It's a great way to try all the products there at hotrodscreole.com. Use the promo code AFR and save promo code AFR and get free shipping at hotrodscreole.com. All right, Jimmy Ott joins us for Otter Locks. How are you, Otter?
Straight up butter, baby. You know it. We've been tailgating. It's the JV Tuition Bowl, Dunnenberg's Episcopal. Myself, Stockwell Productions, and Jenny the Clark Girl are on our way to the stadium heading from Rouge. Charlie's good. He's all set up at Rouge. Nobody panic.
Good.
Roscoe's there to hold his hand. He's got all the notes. He's going to be fine. So, man, we had a banged-up weekend this weekend, Matthew.
Yeah, how'd you do?
Good this weekend. Did well on the podcast. 11-3 in college football. 4-2 on the NFL. And one tough one. How about Central Florida? Covering the whole game. then they get backdoored by Tulane, and then they take a knee at the Tulane 1 to end the game. It happens sometimes. But,
play with fire. You're going to get burned. Isn't that the old adage?
I've seen it. I got one more play than I should have. They ran it once from the 2 when they should have just taken a knee, and he got stopped at the 1. So I had one more swing than I should have. So anyway, how about hot rods? Love the garlic butter, baby. Love it. Love it.
What do we?
And you know what I love tonight? You know what I love tonight?
What do you love tonight?
I love the under. Under. Bears and the Rams. They've got their number. They've really done a nice job against McVay's offense, even when they were high flying. Remember that Sunday night game in Soldier Field when they just shut them down? I think it was like 19-9 or something. I love the under, and so do a lot of our guests that come on Game Time from Las Vegas too. Guys that I really do respect. The under is the pick tonight. Matthew?
No, go ahead.
And one game away from our Dodgers and 6. One little win away.
You got
Dodgers and 6 plus $3.
Did you, when you made your series play on the Dodgers, did you have to designate how many games, or was it just for the Dodgers to win the World Series? Didn't you tell me you made a play at the beginning of the postseason on the Dodgers plus what?
The Dodgers before the postseason was plus 350.
Plus 350.
Yeah. But I was not going to lay 220 on the Dodgers. Tampa Bay's just a feisty team, man. They, as you saw in Game 4, how that thing ended, they're a tough out. So I was not going to lay 220 to win the World Series, but I did that to win in Game 6 at plus 240.
Okay.
So they win 6. It takes a little luck, which maybe that Game 4 might have provided the luck, but it's going to be a tough one tomorrow. Snell's pitching for the Rays, and we're going to throw pitching by committee for the Dodgers. But we got a shot.
Pulling for you, Otter. I hope it all works out, man.
Me too. Matthew.
Hey, man, have a great night. Good luck to EJ, man. I hope they win. I hope you all have a great night, man.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Matthew.
All righty, that is Jimmy Ott. Otter Locks, again, presented by Hot Rods Creole, hotrodscreole.com. The new way to Creole, hotrodscreole.com. LSU and the Saints both this weekend had a bit of a statistical anomaly. Neither team punted this weekend. Thomas Morstead, Zach von Rosenberg, neither punted. Well, someone asked Todd Politz, of course, who is incomparable when it comes to factoids and trivia, etc., on Twitter. Brad Ellerby asked him, when was the last time the Saints and LSU didn't punt in the same weekend? Has it ever happened? Well, Todd Politz, of course, went and did the research. Not only had it not happened on the same weekend, it had never even happened in the same season before. Saints, of course, their inception was in 1967. So LSU football, only 6 times since 1967 has LSU not punted in a football game. The Saints, it's happened 8 times in franchise history, but never even in the same season as LSU. So astonishing factoid there, but we saw some very odd history on the same weekend where LSU's 39-year drought without returning a kickoff in Tiger Stadium against teams whose colors are blue or red.
Does it just not count because he muffed it?
In a night game when the temperature is below 80 degrees when kicking into the north end zone, returning toward the south. Hadn't happened since 1981. It is a remarkable factoid. I mean, you would have thought it would happen, but boy. Our guy Rich thought an awful lot of that, didn't he?
A lot of weight lifted off his shoulders Saturday.
I'm happy for him. I'm really happy for him. I'm sitting over there at Don Juan. I mean, I'm telling you, by the time Trey Palmer made the turn, my phone started buzzing. Twitter was like, that must be what it feels like if you have like 1 million followers, and anytime you tweet or post something, if you have notifications on, it's just ding, 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 or you're vibrating. Zzz, 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 zzz. That was my phone for a solid 3 minutes.
Rich was the first person I thought of as well.
I called him. I couldn't believe he answered, but he did. Short convo. I think he just said, Moscona, I love you, buddy. I love you too, Rich. It finally happened. All right. Appreciate Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com, 288-8138, 288-8138, Relief Windows and reliefwindows.com. They do windows, doors, and siding. That's our friends at Relief Windows. Brandon Holly and his team do awesome work. If you need windows, doors, siding, you need Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. All right, let's go around the room. What did we learn today, Brandon? What did you learn today?
From now on, Clyde is just Clyde.
Yeah, just stick with Clyde. I don't know why you're struggling so much with that.
I have all the pronunciation right. I just have the emphasis wrong.
Yes.
And I just can't get past it, and I don't know why.
Stick with Clyde. That's what I used to do when I called and plus, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is a mouthful. It's
right.
just, it is. It's a mouthful. Even if you say it correctly, it's a mouthful.
Well, if there were a second Clyde, I'd continue to work on it. But he's really the only Clyde out there right now.
It's true. Are there any other Clydes in the NFL?
Not that I care about.
All right. You have homework, right? Search every NFL roster for another guy named Clyde. Paul, what did you learn today?
Kamara for MVP.
Right? You agree?
I do agree.
Is that just Homer, Paul, who has a giant fleur-de-lis on the back glass of his truck?
No. I agree he won't win it, but
No.
I agree he should be in the consideration.
What'd you learn today, Matt?
Compton has 40 friends, or 40 people that have his phone number.
And 2 pallbearers.
He's working on a third, though. All right, it's going to do it for us here on a Monday edition of AFR. Y'all have an awesome night. Catch everything on demand presented by Brett Golf. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com, 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. That is Shawbills, ShawBillsTire.com. You got the little check engine light on your dash? Shawbills. If you're like me and it says you have 400 miles till your next oil change, that's on your dash? Shawbills. Maybe your tires are looking a little bald. Shawbills. Maybe you need your tires rotated. Shawbills. Maybe you're losing air in your tires. They'll fill up your tires and patch your tires for free even if you didn't buy them there. Shawbills. Because that's just the right thing to do. It's the way that their business was founded 52 years ago when Mr. Charlie opened up the doors, and it's the way that his family runs it now. It's Shawbills. 18 locations in South Louisiana, bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. Shawbills, where we keep
$10,000 off MSRP on a new 2020 Ford F-150. Buy a new one for less than a used one. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
I can't tell you how many people tried to discourage me when I said, I'm opening up a haunted house. If you love doing something, don't let anything or anyone stand in your way.
How he comes up with this stuff in his head and designs it is mind-boggling.
Debbie and Home Bank understand my business and understand that it's not normal. They've worked with me since the beginning to help my business grow.